banned from driving. Cyclist Bart had a lucky escape when he was run over by a lorry.
I screamed, I was at wheels.
A leaked report into claims that hardline Muslims tried to infiltrate schools in Birmingham is said to have found evidence of coordinated action to introduce what it describes as an aggressive Islamist agenda. The report was commissioned by the Department for Education. The Israeli army has begun its first major ground operation in Gaza for more than 5 years. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the aim is to destroy tunnels used by the militants to attack Israel. Controversial roadworks in Hemel Hempstead that caused businesses to lose thousands of pounds have been branded a complete waste of money. This weekend, a street festival is being held in the Old Town for the official opening of the new High Street. The scheme's been beset with problems since the work began last June. These businesses say they've yet to see an upturn in trade.
There's not much difference now. My uncle, they sold their shop to someone else now. They lost too much. I'll say it's a waste of money, especially when they put a new gate there. Didn't need that, did we?
They don't seem to be flying back like they used to. I think there's a lot of businesses already gone down along here whilst it's all been happening.
A memorial service is being held today for the son of a Luton woman who died in Nepal last year. The body of 23-year-old Matthew Allpress was found earlier this year in the mountains where he'd been trekking. Friends and family will be attending the service in Australia, where Matt lived. In football last night, Luton Town beat Hitchin 5-0 in their friendly. And the dream of the One Direction singer Lewis Tomlinson to own his favourite football club has collapsed. The singer and a former Doncaster Rovers chairman, John Ryan, failed to raise enough money for the takeover ahead of the deadline. The weather, a hot and humid day with good sunny spells and a risk of 1 or 2 heavy thundery showers. Temperatures up to 32 Celsius. Get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
Absolutely picturesque, beautiful bridge to drive over.
It's all about where you live.
Nice quiet village just on the outskirts of Bedford Town Centre.
And all this week we're featuring some of our North Bedfordshire villages.
It's always been a lovely village, local, and quiet.
It actually has everything anyone could want in a village.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Let me just look at my pie chart. Where are we in the show? Let's just have a little look. Hang on, that's the third hour, second hour, 6 o'clock. Sting, big tour, trail, intro. We're on the intro now. Okay, so just know where.
Intro and or bants.
Sorry.
Intro and or bants.
It's Friday, so it's intro.
Okay.
You actually have one.
Sorry.
You've actually got one?
Yeah, well, of course. How do you think I do? How do you think I know what to do in the show each day? I've got a pie chart, of course.
Just follows the instructions.
Oh, I thought you were clever.
No. Just following the instructions. No, I wouldn't, not allowed to think for myself. We're not doing bants. It's intro. For goodness' sake, ruin this now. Anyway, coming up on the show this morning, angry cyclists. It says in there that I've got to mess up the intro on the thing, so I'm stuck. I'm with it. Angry cyclists, furious shopkeepers, and flying ants.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
That was Kelly.
Did you belch?
No, I didn't. I was just making a weird sound. I had no idea that my mic was on.
It's on the pie chart. Your mic goes on Kelly's weird sound, so I don't know why you sound so surprised. So, where are we? We've done the big tour, we've done intro, messing up the intro, Kelly's weird sound, little bit of bants, and then at 6:05 and 26 seconds, I say what's happening on the pie chart, doing that now, then it's a song. Lovely.
You had no one to
That's Elton John and Sacrifice there. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Now, campaign groups are calling for tougher sentencing after a BBC investigation found you've got less than 50% chance of being jailed if you hit and kill a cyclist. There have been 20 deaths, such deaths in the 3 counties since 2007. 15 of those drivers were convicted, but only 9 went to prison. Mark Turner is Chief Exec of the Road Victims Trust. Morning, Mark. What's your reaction to this?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. Well, my reaction is that the courts at the moment have a really, really wide range of sentencing available to them at given times because of some of the issues that have been caused over the years. And things have changed relatively recently, whereby the powers are there for the courts to send people to jail and to send people to jail for significant periods of time.
So why isn't it happening?
It's difficult to say. I mean, every case is different, and every case has to be judged on the unique circumstances. And there always are unique circumstances with road death. If someone, for example, commits the worst possible offence, death by dangerous driving, the starting point for any custodial sentence tends to start, if it's the worst possible case, with the worst possible aggravating features at around about 8 years. So the sentencing powers are there for courts, but, clearly each case is then judged on its individual circumstance.
Well, according to this investigation, Mark, the average length of sentence for those who actually get sent to prison is 2 years.
Yes, that's correct. And again, that will vary greatly on what the actual charge was, because it's not just a case of everybody being charged with dangerous driving. No. There's death by careless driving as well. There's certain mitigating circumstances. There's certain circumstances which are much, much worse than others. But, of course, the thing about all of this is there's no such thing as an accident. Every one of these is a collision, and every one of these involved some type of human error. But, of course, it's that level of error that the courts will look at, and they'll take all mitigating circumstances into their considerations before passing sentence.
I'm interested that you say there's no such thing as an accident. Can you expand on that a bit?
Well, the term accident tends to get used to suggest people still use the term road accidents. Now, an accident is when I accidentally trip over or spill something down me. That's an accident. A collision is something totally different altogether. Now, invariably in a collision, there will be an element of some type of carelessness. Sometimes it's a lot more than carelessness. Sometimes it's pure, flagrant disregard for the law and recklessness. Now, the courts have to decide, and the CPS have to decide, after a road death, exactly where that fits in along that scale somewhere. But each one of these is a collision, and we never refer to them as accidents.
Do you have any sympathy for the car drivers involved in these situations?
Well, it's not a case of having sympathy. Our sympathies at the Road Victims Trust, we provide free emotional and practical support to people who are affected by road deaths. So it's not just the people, the families of people who are killed. That's anyone who's witnessed it. That can include drivers in certain circumstances, I should add. And we provide that across Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire and Cambridgeshire. People we have the sympathies for are the people whose loved ones have lost their lives on the road, and it's absolutely important we give them the best possible attention.
But supposing it's the fault, it's the carelessness rests with the cyclist. He's just pulled out in front of a car, and the car had no chance to see him or stop, and that person's been killed. Kind of going off on a slight fantasy here, but that driver's life has been impacted negatively, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Yes, whenever there is a collision, yes, and there is a death resulting from it. There are many, many people who are affected by that. Of course, there's the close family of the people who've lost their loved ones. That's obvious, and they're the people that we support, and they're the primary people we support. But as you rightly say, there are loads of others whose lives are absolutely affected. And that's where the circumstances differ so widely, and that's the important thing to note around any sentencing.
Mark, I really appreciate your time this morning. It's certainly given us something to think about. Thanks very much.
OK, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. It's Mark Turner, Chief Executive of the Road Victims Trust, 08459 455 555. We talked about cycling the other week, didn't we, and about how about half of you, according to a fun survey, half of you are too scared to go on your bikes. Are we speaking to Scoynes later on?
Yep, he said we could give him a call. He's going to be cycling in again today.
Paul Scoynes, political reporter, is cycling in. And are we mentioning both incidents that happened to him?
Well, I don't know.
Are we mentioning at least one of the incidents that happened to him?
We're going to mention last night's incident.
Okay,
I'm sure he'll tell you about the other one.
OK. Paul Scoins, political reporter, has had two, well, definitely one, possibly two. We'll see whether he wants to talk about that. Horrific incidents. The thing that happened to him last night on his bicycle. First, when I read the email, I kind of chuckled because I thought, that sounds really... And then I read it again. What happened to him is horrific last night on his bike. I phoned him up, and he was obviously really, really shaken by it. I'll let him come in and tell the story, but it's... man alive, there are some idiots out there. There are some idiot... Why would anyone think that was appropriate or fun to do?
It's crazy, just because he's on his bike.
Keep listening. Paul Scoins, political reporter and keen cyclist, had an horrific incident on his bicycle last night. I won't steal his thunder. I'll let him tell you what happened. And I keep listening, because I'd be keen to know if anything similar has happened to you. 08459 455 555. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M40 heading northbound at the moment is closed between Junction 2 for Beaconsfield and Junction 3 for Loudwater. That's due to an accident that's happened there. There is a matrix sign as well set to 40 miles per hour, so do approach that with care. The M1 Luton Spur is building up in patches between Junction 10A for the Kidneywood roundabout and Junction 10 for Luton Airport as those major roadworks continue. Some disruption on the trains. First Capital Connect between Luton and St Pancras International. That's due to a signalling problem also affecting East Midland trains as well between Luton and St Pancras. So far, Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Nicola. Right. It's 6:17. It's Friday, the 18th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. America is leading a call for a ceasefire in Ukraine to investigate the downing of a Malaysian airliner. There are calls for tougher penalties on drivers who kill cyclists. And a festival this weekend welcomes in the controversial revamped Hemel Old Town.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Is everybody who works on this show having trouble with the roads recently? Because Scoins' story is incredible. Man alive, wait till you hear what happened to Dealey. Was it yesterday?
I don't know. What happened to
With the traffic warden?
Yes.
Was that yesterday?
Yeah.
In Hemel Old Town?
Yeah, he's going to tell you about it.
Man alive, what's going on with people?
Every weekday from 3.
Spend your afternoons talking about beds, hearts and bucks.
An amazing venue. If you haven't been to Amstel Park, get along. It's absolutely beautiful.
Discussing the biggest stories.
In terms of our people, we've invested £5 million to recruit new nurses.
In the company of friends.
Good old friends. She went to see Happy Days.
And debating the week's hottest topics.
The biggest problem is actually lack of money, lack of opportunities, poor availability of training.
The use of CCTV spy cars to catch people who park illegally needs to be banned.
Roberto Perroni, weekdays from 3. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Honestly, I couldn't touch it. I was shocked.
Yeah, man, respect, boss, yeah?
Get some brains, get some copper.
As you know, I deal in fact and not fiction.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. That was the new one from Elton John called Sacrifice. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. As you know, it's open season this morning, Justin. People can call in about pretty much anything they want.
Absolutely. Elton John, Sacrifice. Great track.
No sacrifice. It was a double A-side, Sacrifice.
Do you know what? That, in actual fact, if memory serves me correct, was his first ever UK number one. I could be wrong, but I'm convinced that's true.
Might be right. OK, so it was a double A-side. What was the other A-side?
Oh, was it... it wasn't Sleeping in the Past. That was the name of the album.
Yes.
Was it Healing Hands?
I don't think it was Healing Hands, was it?
You will never know.
No, now I'm worried I might have got this wrong then.
No, I think you're right. I can't remember.
No, because maybe Healing Hands was the double A side.
Possibly. I know the...
How did that go?
Well, reach out for the healing hands. Reach out for the healing hands.
And a night, and a girl says, touch me now. Let me feel you again.
I've got the answer here if you want it.
Well, no, I think it's another song.
There's a first release and a second release.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it was a song called Club at the End of the Street.
Ooh.
I remember that one.
Was that a double? Was that on the A side?
No.
So
what was jaunty, wasn't it?
So what was the A side then?
The A side
of the double A side.
Yes, come on.
Right. Love is a Cannibal.
No,
that was the first release. Then
first release. Then Healing Hands.
So Sacrifice and Healing Hands.
Yeah.
Well, then what was Club at the End of the Street? The double A side of.
Had a cartoon video,
didn't it? That's where we meet. That's where we meet.
Me and you.
A rendezvous at the club at the end of the street.
It's an upbeat song performed by Elton John from the album Sleeping with the Past.
But then what was that the A side of?
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Give Peace a Chance.
What on earth is she talking about, Justin?
Give Peace a Chance?
She ruins music.
That was John and Yoko.
She ruins music. She ruins my life.
Wow. Incredible.
Anyway, listen, this is what we're talking about, not Elton John's excellent hits. Do you remember I Was Made in England?
Another brilliant album.
No, it wasn't. It was terrible.
It was great.
Do you remember that one, Catherine? I was made in England.
Like a Ford Cortina.
The weird thing is about Elton John, all of his albums, if you look at the front covers, flamboyant front covers, Made in England was just a picture of him, almost like a passport photograph. Yeah. What was that all about?
He was made in England. Anyway, listen, we'll have time for your story now. The Hemel Roadworks. Once upon a time, councillors decided the old town of Hemel needed a spruce up, so they closed the high street while works went ahead. Or didn't, because while the builders were often seen reading their newspapers, walking their dogs and having a doze, not much work was getting done. Well, the council found out about this and they set up CCTV cameras to watch the workmen. Meanwhile, shopkeepers watched their profits fall. And so it went on for weeks and weeks and months and months and months. But it's finished and there's going to be a huge celebration, isn't there, Just?
Absolutely. This weekend there's going to be a street party tomorrow, a farmer's market on Sunday. But the weird thing is, Ian, the roadworks actually finished back in May. So it's taken them a few weeks to actually have this big celebration. I've been talking to locals in the area about what they think of the new look. Here's what they had to say. So, Ron, we're in the old town. Everything's now complete. What do you think? Are you happy?
Oh, it's very smart. The gates look smart. Yeah, it looks like a nice place to come and spend some time in. Yeah.
In comparison to last year?
Yes, yeah, definitely. It's much nicer. I mean, it's what the town needs, really, to bring it up a little bit more.
So it's worth the money?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Well, John, what do you think about the old town and the improvements that have been made here? Are you a happy local?
I am local, but this is a waste of money. It's not improved anything. The shops are nearly gone bust. There's no proper parking. It's just killed it. It's just a complete waste of money.
Well, that local gentleman saying it's not improved anything, Justin. What about the businesses?
Well, of course, they've suffered terribly. These roadworks started in the summer of last year. They were meant to finish by the end of October. It went on and on and on. The roadworks themselves, they were trying to make the Old Town there one way, which is what they've done, with extra parking spaces to increase business. Well, during the roadworks, people just avoided the area, so they lost thousands of pounds. The hope was that once the work was complete, people would go back. I've been asking businesses, have things picked up? Here's what they had to say.
There's not much difference now because of the one-way street. That's the big issue. That's personally what I think is one-way street made everyone's down. Literally, it's still people crying. They're still saying they lost a lot of business. What we have, like my uncle, they sold their shop to someone else now. Someone else took over the shop now. So they're not the same people now.
Because they lost too much money?
They lost too much. They're not here anymore. They moved to Birmingham because of the business lost.
I mean, percentage-wise, since these roadworks have been completed, how much do you think it's gone up by?
I'll say before we lost about 60%. Now it's probably we are back to 50-50. So it's only 10% gone up.
So a waste of money?
Yeah, I'll say it's a waste of money, especially when they put a new gate there. Didn't need that, did we? Well, if that money would have been helped for another people, but people lost a lot of business like us, we lost it nearly about 60 grand. They could have paid us at least a bit of it. There's a lot of people, they lost a lot of business, and there's a lot of shops been shut down in the last few months ago. There's few shops, there was a cake shop is shut down, there was a barber shop was shut down. That's because of that, innit?
Well, here's somebody who works at the antique shop. Since the roadworks have been completed, the hope was people would come back. Have people come back? Are you now making money?
Not as much as we used to, and they don't seem to be flying back like they used to. I think there's a lot of businesses already gone down along here whilst it's all been happening.
It's the big opening party this weekend. I'm sure you're going to have a few words with the local council, aren't you, after what's happened here?
Things will be said, yes, I'm sure.
So in terms of the whole project, cosmetically it may look a bit better, but was it a complete and utter waste of time?
Well, I think it was a waste of time, personally. The parking's atrocious. No one knows where they're allowed to park or not allowed to park.
Jose, you're from the off licence here. Has business picked up at all for you?
Not really. Actually, we lost all the customers, and we are losing business now.
So those old customers haven't returned, now the roadworks have finally gone?
No.
How close are you to losing this business now?
We hope we'll get our customers back, but we are not sure.
Well, there's people very upset there, Justin. Justin? I think Justin's been murdered as part of a conspiracy.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M40 heading northbound is closed at the moment between Junction 2 for Beaconsfield and Junction 3 for Loudwater. That's after a serious accident happened there. Also, a matrix sign set at the moment for 40 miles per hour. The M25 in both directions between Junction 25 for Enfield and Junction 27, the M11, building up in patches due to those major roadworks that are continuing there. Disruption on First Capital Connect trains between Luton and St Pancras International, also affecting East Midland trains between Luton and St Pancras as well. That's due to a signalling problem. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Jane Killick. There's international calls for an inquiry into the downing of a Malaysian airliner over Ukraine. The US Vice President says the plane was apparently blown out of the sky, killing almost 300 people. There are calls for tougher penalties for drivers who kill cyclists. A Freedom of Information request by the BBC to all UK police forces found that a quarter of those convicted weren't banned from driving. Controversial roadworks in Hemel Hempstead that caused businesses to lose thousands of pounds have been branded a complete waste of money. This weekend, a street festival's being held in the Old Town for the official opening of the new High Street. The weather, hot, humid and mainly sunny. On to sport and in cricket, a century by Ajinkya Rahane inspired a fight back by India as England's bowlers failed to take full advantage of an obliging pitch on the first day of the second test at Lord's. England reduced India to 145 for 7 shortly after tea, but they recovered to 290 for 9 by the close. Rory McIlroy has a one-shot lead going into the second round of the Open Championship at Royal Liverpool today. He's on 6 under par with Italy's Matteo Manassero on 5 under. Adam Scott, Sergio Garcia and Jim Furyk are all on 4 under. High Wycombe's Tyrell Hatton shot a 3 over par round yesterday and was disappointed with one hole in particular.
I just had one bad hole. I think it was on 5. Made triple there, and it's a good birdie opportunity. So, I let 4 shots go on the field there, I think. But apart from that, I played okay. My putter was really good. Held quite a few par putts from like 6-7 feet. But it got a little bit tricky on the back 9 as the wind started to pick up.
In football, in last night's friendlies, Luton Town beat Hitchin 5-0. Striker Alex Wall scored a hat-trick, and there were goals from Sean Whalley and Mark Cullen. Boreham Wood lost 3-1 at home to Brentford. In athletics, Milton Keynes long jumper Greg Rutherford has pulled out of the anniversary games in London this Sunday. It's as a precaution to prepare for the Commonwealth Games. He also didn't compete at last weekend's Glasgow Grand Prix after suffering a knee problem in warm-up. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next bulletin is at 7.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
All you got to do is jump into a sandpit. My boys do it at every available opportunity. Man up and jump.
Why are these headphones damp?
Ah, yes. Now, about that. I've got a very sweaty head.
Are they really? Someone has.
I don't know why they're damp.
They've left.
Who's in here before us? Roberto. Is it Roberto's sweat?
Well, whoever it is, you need to do something.
You need some personal hygiene. But seriously, though, all you got to do is jump 3 times.
Yeah, far.
Exactly.
Long.
Do it.
Actually.
Do it, Rutherford.
Yeah.
Just do it, man. Go and jump. Go and jump 3 times and then go home.
Yeah, he's done it before.
Take your applause and then go home. Catherine Boyle joins me in the studio.
Yes.
Let me just need to check the wheel of show.
What are we up to?
6:33 and 42 seconds. Catherine joins me in the studio. We bounce for 2 minutes, then we play Elton John's Made in England.
Or sacrifice.
It's no sacrifice. What you got in the papers? Not a lot.
All manner of things that, well, look, yeah.
I've already had an email about a conspiracy theory about the Malaysian airplane.
Well, I would be surprised if you hadn't, and I bet I know who it's from.
I've been getting abuse from people for not talking about Gaza. And what do you want me to say about... Hey, do you know what's happening over there, man? It's bad.
And also, do you know you can phone in on 08459 455 555?
If you want to phone in and talk about these things, you're more than welcome. But hey, guess what? We're kind of local radio, so I don't quite see what impact... unless someone on this aeroplane tragically comes from Beds, Herts or Bucks. What can I say? But if you want to call in and talk about that, if you want to call in and talk about Gaza, do you know what? You're more than welcome to. I had Mohammed tweeting me, or at least someone claiming to be Mohammed, but a woman claiming to be Mohammed, saying I got pwned. I didn't get pwned the other day. I let that impudent child off with a flea in his ear. But a flea in his ear, clipped him around the head and sent him on his way. Silly sausage. What have you got, Catherine?
And if you'd like to call again, Mohammed, 08459 455 555 is the number.
Yeah, but just have some manners this time, lad.
Hottest day of the year today, but get ready for tropical storms. We were ready.
That was last night.
I like them. I don't mind them. There are some people in this building who are wusses about it.
Justin Dealey. Kelly Betts, you're a wuss about it. Man up, it's a storm.
Don't like it.
Why?
Scary.
Of what?
Lightning.
It's just weather.
It's just weather? It's just God showing he's angry with us and moving his furniture.
I don't trust the sky. The sky can do it what it wants. If I'm driving in, the sky is thinking, actually, I'm going to get her. It can. Bolt of lightning.
The sky's got bigger fish to fry.
It's frying something.
Frying tonight.
I like it.
I love it.
I turned the radio off and opened my windows and felt the freshness.
You stand naked in the window and allowing the rain to embrace your body?
No, because of a court order that's been put against me. But otherwise, I would have definitely done that.
Well done.
1 million pensioners are now millionaires.
So that's £100 million.
A million. That's $1 billion, isn't it?
It depends. No, it's a billion is 1,000 million.
That's the American billion.
We've adopted the American billion. That's the thing, you see. It's another... We'll be calling them sidewalks soon and looking for the mailbox soon.
Gee. Soaring numbers of Britain's pensioners are now millionaires thanks to the surging value of their homes and pensions, it was revealed today.
So they're not really millionaires.
OK. Only if they're going to move out and live in a tent. There are now just over 1 million millionaires aged 65 plus, and they form 11% of their age group, the highest percentage of any bracket. I'm sure they don't feel like millionaires.
Dear how do you say her name? Jan Moyer.
Yes?
Stick it up your backside.
What's she done now?
Jan Moyer. Call me sexist, but women's clothes do matter. She's writing for the Daily Mail, referring to the Daily Mail's story where it was all the women and what they were wearing.
Well, of course they matter. You know, you need to be able to cover yourself up and protect yourself against the elements. But I don't think it was the most important thing that day.
Like Nick Clegg, like John Prescott, like most of the Twitterati, like feminists everywhere, like the commentators who rushed to their keyboards and to the airwaves to vent. This was me. I was appalled when I saw this newspaper's coverage of the great she reshuffle this week. That's good. In these very pages, the procession of 9 women MPs making their way along Downing Street was likened to a catwalk. Good grief, I can feel my gorge rising all over again at the very thought of it. What an utter disgrace against taste, against humanity... Oh, she's being sarcastic. Against all the hard-fought gains women have made over the centuries. Here we go, she's building up to a gag. It's a big intro to a gag, Jam. What an utter disgrace against taste, against humanity, against all the hard-fought gains women have made over the centuries. I'm talking about Liz Truss pairing black shoes with a blue handbag. Has the woman gone mad? It's as if accessorising the concept of tasteful mix and match had never... Oh, you... I don't want to say stupid woman, because I don't use the word stupid, but what a ridiculous muppet. Oh, yeah, that's better, isn't it?
BBC One must take more creative risks in its programmes, according to a report by the BBC Trust. Hang on.
Well done, guys.
There's that John Hughes hand clap.
And that's going to happen when Seb Coe comes in and takes over, isn't it?
Researchers found viewers believe the channel tends to play it safe as it relies on tried and trusted staples such as The One Show presented by Alex Jones.
Yeah, let's ditch The One Show. Let's ditch EastEnders.
Holby City and EastEnders among 10 shows which dominate peak schedules.
Yeah.
The Trust has told BBC Chiefs he wants to see a report within 6 months spelling out how it will increase the distinctiveness of programmes and schedules on each of its main channels, particularly BBC One. Good.
Where are them 2 black fellas?
Which 2 black fellas?
The 2 black fellas.
Oh!
I like the 2 black fellas.
Hang on.
Skip
They're in
Luke Vans.
Daily Mail, was it?
They're in a couple of papers.
Yeah, they are. Oh, I say. Carnival race row as men black up as Venus and Serena, page 29 of the Mail, if you want to read along.
I quite like this.
Daubed in fake tan.
Yep.
Wearing comedy wigs, squeezed into skimpy outfits. Well, they're not skimpy outfits, they're just large men.
Yeah, they're big fellas.
They were raising a smile and a few pounds for charity, but pub landlord Kevin Stevens and his equally burly friend Jason Luke's decision to enter a carnival parade dressed as tennis-playing sisters Venus and Serena Williams backfired spectacularly when they were branded racist.
Oh, come on, guys.
Sarah Batchelor, 33, who watched the carnival in Truro, Cornwall with her 9-year-old son, said, "That sort of caricature went out in the 70s. I didn't realise people still did it. It's out of date and offensive." Organisers dubbed the blacking up inappropriate and have banned pictures of the men dressed as the Williams sisters from the event's Facebook page.
Right, OK. We did something like... Wasn't there something like this recently?
Yeah, there was, when some boys dressed up as Cool Runnings.
Do you know what? Oh, it was the Cool Runnings lads. Do you know what? I think we should all black up. They're not doing it in a racist way, as far as I can tell. Maybe
the only people they're sending up are themselves by the look at these pictures.
It's blokes dressed up as women who are black, so they've blacked up. I don't think... Can we not... OK, this is what we'll do on Monday. We're all going to black up. We won't, because that stuff is awful to get off your skin. But I don't see anything wrong with that at all. And, I've tiptoed around this in the past. If you want to black up, if you're doing it to impersonate someone or to look like someone, as long as it's not done with maliciousness, as long as you're not making light of their darkness, then there's not a problem with it at all.
It's just dressing up, isn't it?
It's just dressing up.
In England, I paid a lack of muscle. I
As you know, I deal in fact and not fiction.
Boom, 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 boom.
One of them came up against me, I couldn't touch it. I was shocked. Don't underestimate a scene.
Erotic party operations.
Oink, oink.
Sacrifice by Elton John. Sounds like it could be a big, big hit.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M40 heading northbound's closed at the moment between junction 2 for Beaconsfield and junction 3 for Loudwater. That's following a serious accident that happened a little earlier on this morning. Building up in patches on the M1 Luton Spur in both directions between junction 10A for the Kidneywood roundabout and junction 10 for Luton Airport as those major roadworks continue. Seeing disruption on East Midland trains but of about half an hour between Luton and St Pancras International. Also affecting First Capital Connect between Luton and St Pancras as well, and that's all due to a signalling problem. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Nicola. 6:46, it's Friday the 18th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. America is leading a call for a ceasefire in Ukraine to investigate the downing of a Malaysian airliner. There are calls for tougher penalties on drivers who kill cyclists, and a festival this weekend welcomes in the controversial revamped Hemel Old Town. Let's get the weather. Here's Sarah.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Well, many people talking this morning about the torrential thunderstorms that woke them up across the three counties. Still some of them around, largely though they're clearing off towards the north at the moment. It is pretty uncomfortable out there. Temperatures overnight didn't fall below the high teens. We're at 19 degrees in some spots at the moment. So a little bit too unpleasant for sleeping. Some places around the 16 Celsius mark though. So we've got a bit of a spread in temperatures. It's where you've seen those thunderstorms, and as I say, still some around, largely clearing away though not long after breakfast time. And then we're looking at a dry, sunny and hot day with temperatures well up in the 20s Celsius, the very high 20s, if not tipping over to the 30 degree mark. Looks like today the hottest day of the year so far, and somewhere in the south and east of England we're going to see a high of 32, possibly 33 degrees, which takes us up to 90s Fahrenheit. But we'll stay dry, sunny and hot through much of the day. Late this afternoon though, further thunderstorms starting to track their way towards us from the south. They'll be with us through this evening and overnight across the three counties, and through much of the day tomorrow. We've got some really unpleasant weather on the way then. Torrential thunderstorms, a Met Office weather warning in force for the day tomorrow, right the way through until tomorrow evening. We will have some drier interludes at times, but continuing with the risk of them right the way through tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening and overnight into Sunday. And still on Sunday, the risk of some showers around. Between them, highs tomorrow up in the high 20s Celsius. Today's the peak of the temperatures though, slowly will become cooler, a little bit cooler and fresher as we move towards Monday, but still some heavy thunderstorms to come in through the night tonight.
This weekend it's all about Bedford here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
The River Festival is 36 years old.
And this weekend we'll bring it all to you.
Today from 3, I'm live from the town to give you all the build-up and let you know everything that's coming up this weekend.
Then tomorrow, I'll bring you 3 hours from the heart of the festival as it all gets underway.
And on Sunday, Sophie Solaria and me, Gareth Lloyd,
live from the riverbank with all the action from Bedford's premier water event.
The Bedford River Festival weekend starts with me, Roberta Peroni, this afternoon from 3
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Right, always a great pleasure to welcome friends of the show back to the show, and it's a great pleasure, Catherine, to have Matt in Luton back on. Good morning to you, Matt. How are you this morning? You enjoying the weather?
Enjoying the weather, yes.
Yeah, you like a bit of rain, do you?
Well, I didn't have a lot of rain here.
Oh, did you hear the thunderbolts?
Not really.
Did you see the lightning bolts?
No.
Did you enjoy the heat yesterday?
Oh, yes, very nice, yes.
Yeah, that's really wonderful news. Well, Matt, thank you so much for calling.
Yes.
We'll speak to you next week.
Okay.
Did you have a point you wanted to make? You silly
Yes.
old...
You're a prat.
Excuse me?
That was Bruce Springsteen you had on this morning. You make me so mad, mate.
Bruce Springsteen?
The first record you played this morning was Bruce Springsteen.
I think you'll find it was Elton John and Sacrifice.
I'm sorry, mate. You just do it to wind us up.
No need to apologise, Matt. You're getting on a bit and you get confused. It was Elton John and it was Sacrifice.
Sacrifice, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to sacrifice you.
Can we clip that? Because that is actually a threat of murder, Catherine. He's threatening to murder me.
I think it's justified.
What, sorry?
Just saying.
Justified the sacrifice.
Justified to punch you in the nose. Yeah, you won't be laughing then. You'll be crying because you'll have a broken, bloody nose. I'm not swearing. I'm being literal. I'm swearing as well.
Right, that's
just being
definitely
clever.
a threat. That's definitely.
I'm threatening to punch a listener in the nose. What? Don't tell me the BBC got a problem with that.
Eh?
What?
If I said that, you would have cut me out for swearing.
Yeah, but I'm cleverer than you.
No, but you get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kath, what do you talk to him? He's getting on my nerves.
I like Matt.
What do you like him for? He's a plum.
I like him because he keeps it real.
He's a miserable old so-and-so.
I know my music, pal.
All right, Matt. All right. Listen.
Yeah.
Would you like me to play Elton John and Sacrifice?
No, I want to play you. You must play me Daytime Friends and Nighttime Love.
All right. Let me find it on the computer. Hang on a second. Daytime Friends, Nighttime Lovers. Okie dokie. Right, we've got it. Do you want to introduce it?
Yes.
Go on then.
The great Kenny Rogers, Daytime Friends and Nighttime Lovers.
Is that all right, Matt? Thank you very much. Ta-ta. Plum.
sacrifice you.
Elton John, Sacrifice. I like that one. I'm not a massive fan of EJ, but I quite like that one.
A bit different. He's taken a different direction.
He's taken it in a different direction, as he so often does. Is there anything in the papers this week have been very, very poor? I mean, obviously, all the front pages are about the Malaysian Airlines. Now, listen, that's unlucky. I mean, they've had two of the biggest air disasters, of the last 20 years?
In the space of a few months.
Isn't that incredible?
How can they survive?
I was in a lobby or foyer of a building.
A hallway?
No.
Reception?
And the BBC News was on. I was watching it with some people. This was last night. And a fella walked out of the lift and overheard us saying, "Oh, blimey, Malaysian Airlines." He went, well, fellas, now's a good time to buy shares, isn't it?
What?
I said so.
Oh, that's cold, isn't it?
I mean, cold but true.
Possibly.
He said, now's a good time to buy shares, isn't it? They won't go any lower, they can only go up. Yeah, and he walked out like that.
With a swagger, I imagine. With
a cocky swagger of a man who was about to make money from blood.
And that is why we will never be rich.
Yeah, well, when I've got a private pension. I don't put any money into it now because I can't afford to. And I had a meeting with the pension advisor. He said, right, is there anything you don't want to, you invest in, any ethical things? And I went, yeah, arms, tobacco and animal experiments, which is a lot of pensions are invested in. And he went, yeah, they're the ones that make the money. I went, oh, go on then. So, I can't remember what my decision was in the end. I probably did. I'm just, hey, listen, I'm a human being and I make money.
Greedy.
Sorry?
No, it's fine.
Go on.
If you can live with yourself. I love this picture.
Very
it's in a
easily.
number of the papers.
Yes.
Has anyone seen the Lego Movie? If anyone's seen Lego Movie, they will be looking at the picture of the Queen with all those construction workers and thinking of Emmett.
Are you asking, has anybody seen the Lego Movie? Everybody. Let's just pick a random sample. Kelly, you've seen the Lego Movie, haven't you? You've seen Lego Movie?
You seen Lego Movie?
You seen Lego Movie?
Hi, no.
Oh, okay.
That went well. That's why I had to ask. I can't assume things about people like what you do.
I'd like to sacrifice you.
Cut Matt off! Violent, aggressive plum. So,
He said gently.
David Cameron and Jean-Claude Juncker. Is it a hard or soft J?
Wait, no, I don't think it matters.
He's the head of Europe. He owns Europe, and David Cameron owns England. They hate each other. And also, when you see like a colleague, or you would handshake. There's a great picture of them high-five, but like doing the really awkward white middle-class, middle-aged high-five. They're sort of missing each other. Isn't that embarrassing?
Or is he going for his face and he's trying to block it?
He's trying to block it. It's just awful.
Stop that. Nobody over the age of 15 should do a high five without it being an ironic one.
Yeah, totally. It's just the worst thing. Come on, guys. You're leaders. Do something. A handshake or a salute. You should do a salute. I like the salute.
Peace sign.
Peace sign would be nice.
Thumbs up.
Oh, if David Cameron did the peace sign. Wouldn't that be... What would be great, right, is if David Cameron next time he gets up in Europe to do a really boring speech, he would win my vote at the next general election if he walks up to... And our next speaker would be the Prime Minister of Great Britain, David Cameron. Polite applause. He walks up to the podium, makes both hands into peace signs and goes, "Thank you, fans." Thank you, fans.
Cam fans.
Oh, man, I would love it. I would respect him so much if he said "thank you, fans" at the start of a speech.
Obama would do it.
Obama would totally do it. Obama would get it. Have we got anything else, or shall we just pretend this never happened?
The latter.
OK.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M40 heading northbound is closed at the moment between Junction 2 for Beaconsfield and Junction 3 for Loudwater, as due to an accident that happened a little earlier on. Also causing delays on the A355 heading northbound just at London Road there. The M25 heading anti-clockwise, rather slow moving on camera from Junction 17 at Maple Cross to Junction 15 for the Thorney interchange. Delays of up to half an hour on First Capital Connect between Luton and St Pancras International. due to a signalling problem. That's also affecting East Midland trains as well between Luton and St Pancras. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Nicola, thank you very much. Coming up later on in the show, we're going to have some of this.
Weather, humid weather, I suppose. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. Did that attack you?
Attack the bus. Anything white.
Anything white?
You got anything white on, you've got a white shirt on, you'll be covered in them. It's like if you've got yellow on, the wasp will come onto you.
What about other colours then that we should be wary of?
Green. They might think you work at Asda's.
Well, evolution. If they grow, most some species of ants, when they grow feathers.
What on earth are they talking about? Stay tuned to find out.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Jane Killick. The headlines. Russia and Ukraine blame each other for bringing down a Malaysian airliner. Calls for tougher penalties for killing cyclists. And festival welcomes the controversial new Hemel Old Town.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The US is leading demands by the international community for all sides in the conflict in eastern Ukraine to support an immediate ceasefire to allow an investigation into the shooting down of a Malaysia Airlines jet. Nearly 300 people died. 9 Britons are said to be among the victims. Lord Peter Truscott, a former Labour MEP for Hertfordshire who is a member of the EU delegation to Russia, says it will probably take some time to identify who's to blame.
It would have to be a pretty sophisticated missile, so that would mean that it's either been taken from the Ukrainian military or the Russian military, or it's been fired by the military. So I don't think we'll get to the bottom of this until there is a full investigation, but I think our thoughts at the moment should be really with the families of those that have appeared to have died and their loved ones.
There are calls for tougher penalties for drivers who kill cyclists. A Freedom of Information request by the BBC to all UK police forces found that a quarter of those convicted weren't banned from driving. The chief executive of the Road Victims Trust, Mark Turner, says it's difficult to know why more offenders aren't sent to jail.
If someone, for example, commits the worst possible offence, death by dangerous driving, the starting point for any custodial sentence tends to start, if it's the worst possible case with the worst possible aggravating features, at around about 8 years. So the sentencing powers are there for courts, but clearly each case is then judged on its individual circumstance.
A leaked report into schools into claims that hardline Muslims trying to infiltrate schools in Birmingham is said to have found evidence of coordinated action to introduce what it describes as an aggressive Islamist agenda. The report was commissioned by the Department for Education. Controversial roadworks in Muslims trying to infiltrate schools in Birmingham is said to have found evidence of coordinated action to introduce what it describes as an aggressive Islamist agenda. The report was commissioned by the Department for Education. Controversial roadworks in Hemel Hempstead that caused businesses to lose thousands of pounds have been branded a complete waste of money. This weekend, a street festival is being held in the Old Town for the official opening of the new High Street. The scheme's been beset with problems since the work began last June. These businesses say they've yet to see an upturn in trade.
There's not much difference now. My uncle, they sold their shop to someone else now. They lost too much. I'll say it's a waste of money, especially when they put a new gate there. Didn't need that, did we?
They don't seem to be flying back like they used to. I think there's a lot of businesses already gone down along here whilst it's all been happening.
A memorial service is being held today for the son of a Luton woman who died in Nepal last year. The body of 23-year-old Matthew Allpress was found in the mountains where he'd been trekking. Friends and family will be attending the service in Australia where Matt lived. And in football last night, Luton beat Hitchin 5-0 in their friendly. The weather, a hot and humid day with good sunny spells and a risk of 1 or 2 heavy thundery showers. Temperatures up to 32 Celsius. And get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
There's so much going on here. So much.
And all this week, we're featuring some of our North Bedfordshire villages.
Living rural, you have rural atmosphere.
It's all about where you live.
Everything you want or your kids want, you don't have to go far, you don't have to be driving miles, you can just stick to the village.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
OK, let's just get a weather update from Tony Fisher.
And the weather for Beds, Herts and Bucks. Tomorrow, wet, basically. Top temperature 9 degrees Celsius. BBC Three Counties News, it's 5:05.
Wet and wet, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be wet, and indeed, it's going to be wet. Lots coming up on the show this morning. Catherine's going to remind us what it is. I'm busy.
Lots of things.
Thank you very much indeed. If you want to take part, 08459 455 555. Wagwan!
Across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Not really given them.
A reason to ring?
Just click a little bit. Why don't click?
Working. This is what working sounds like.
Yeah. OK, right.
And a bit like that.
Working, to me, sounds like... working in a coal mine. Oh,
going down,
down. Working in a coal mine.
Yeah, fair point.
We haven't given them anything to phone in about, and the lemmings they are, they need a piece of cheese before they'll even dare venture close to the trap. No, that's not lemmings, that's mice.
Make it sound so appetising.
Come on, guys.
Well, this is what we're talking about. There is a serious BBC investigation has come out suggesting that if you are a motorist who hits and kills a cyclist, you are less than 50% of them go to prison. Why? Cycling charities are concerned about that. We'll be talking about that in a minute, but we're also going to be talking to Paul Scoynes, who had something awful happen to him on his bike last night, and it's not the first time people have behaved aggressively towards him, and we will be wondering whether it's happened to you too if you use your bike to go to and from work. What else are we talking about?
Well, are there any fun things they can call in about?
Fun things to call about.
Listen, guys, it's Friday. The door is open. You are welcome into our house. If the light's on, you can come in and hang out with us. It's
How
as
did you
simple
sleep
as.
last night? That seems to be what everyone else is talking about.
Now, if I'd have said, how did you sleep last night, call me now, you would have pulled that face that said you'd rather be cleaning, I don't know, I can't think of anything that's appropriate to say.
Yeah, but I said it, so it's OK. 08459 455 555. I'm actually interested in the technicalities of how you slept last night, because lots of people didn't.
Flipping, all right, well, people are phoning in about that, so I guess there may be something in that, but we are talking about cyclists. But do stay tuned. Paul Scoynes, political reporter here at BBC Three Counties Radio, had something absolutely horrific happen to him last night on his bicycle. Absolutely horrific. Stay tuned and find out what it was. But campaigners, we're talking about cycles now, campaigners are calling for tougher sentences for drivers who kill cyclists after a BBC investigation found less than half go to prison. In the last 7 years in the three counties, 20 people died after being knocked off their bikes. 15 drivers convicted, but only 9 went to prison. Nationally, a quarter of motorists found to be responsible for the death of a cyclist have been allowed to keep their licences. I'm joined now by Bart, who is a cyclist who was involved in a road collision 2 months ago. Morning, Bart.
Hi, good morning.
Bart, tell me what happened. Where were you and what happened to you?
I was in central London cycling home from work, as I used to do every day. To and from the office, and got ahead of a lorry, a large tipper truck that was in front of me. I got ahead of it at a junction to avoid any possibility of it turning left and knocking me over, which is the main priority of a cyclist, is to get ahead of these vehicles. So I did that, got ahead of it, and then from nowhere accelerated from behind me and took me out, knocked my back wheel, which sent me to the right, and I went under the whole lorry in between the wheels, and came out the other end in absolute agony.
Hang on a second, sorry. So this lorry knocked you over and drove over you?
Yeah, apparently the paramedics had tyre marks over my backside. My helmet was crushed. It looked like there were tyre marks over my helmet as well. It went over the whole of me, yeah.
Do you think... Because sometimes when you're in these big trucks, it's hard to see what's immediately in front of you. Do you think the driver would have been able to see you?
No one can know apart from the driver. He either wasn't looking properly, or he just didn't bother looking in the right places. Okay. But definitely the type of lorry he was in, it's really hard to see.
Were you conscious? Do you remember going underneath the truck?
Absolutely, I was conscious the whole time. I remember it all kind of slowed down as I went under. I kind of screamed as it happened, and I realised what was going on, and I thought that was the end for me. But I came out the other side amazed that I was still alive and breathing.
That must have been terrifying, Bart.
Yeah, it is. I'm so fortunate to be alive. Every day, I'm trying to get over my injuries, but I think the psychological trauma is still there. When I go out out the house near roads, I'm very nervous now, and it's difficult.
We'll talk about the psychological damage in a second. What you say that you had tyre marks on you. What physical damage have you sustained?
Well, it's rather miraculous. I didn't have any broken bones, but I had shoulder reconstruction on my left shoulder. I had all muscles and tendons ripped there. I had a bone-deep holes in my elbow and knee, so I had to have like plastic surgery on my knee. I still haven't got full flexion of my knee still, and severe bruising, lacerations all over my body. So it looks like I've got burns in some parts of my body, friction burns on the road.
When you came out of the other side, when the truck had passed over you, what happened? Did people see this happen? Were people rushing to your aid?
Yeah, it was just about 7:45 in the evening, and I was in the city, so there was a lot of office workers around, and they all came and surrounded me. I was on my stomach, so I couldn't really see the people above me. I just heard lots of voices, and I was aware that the driver had stopped further on up the road as well.
You mentioned the psychological damage, and I'm guessing you've not got back on a bike since.
No, I mean physically, it's too difficult with my shoulder. I haven't got full movement in my shoulder yet. I can barely raise my arm above 90 degrees. But definitely, it would be very difficult getting back in the saddle and having to deal with large vehicles on the road.
And you say that you even struggle going near busy roads, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been back in London for some outpatient checkups, and hearing like lorries go over potholes and those kind of noises. At one point I felt like having a panic attack. I was breathing very erratically, and it was tough. And I don't have a choice over it. It's just kind of the body's natural instinct. It remembers this trauma, and at night time as well, it's difficult as well.
Do you think, Bart, that tougher sentences for drivers who are involved in collisions with cyclists would change things, or do you think that that I would never when I lived in London, I would never cycle in central London because I just wasn't confident enough?
Yeah, I mean, it does take a large amount of confidence and skill to cycle in central London. But in regards to tougher sentencing, I am shocked to learn of the BBC investigation that about 44% face prison. I think drivers do have a responsibility when they get behind the wheel, because you are effectively in command of several tons of metal, and that is really dangerous to vulnerable road users like pedestrians and cyclists. And that there needs to be something done about using your mobile phone in particular. I think the law should change in that regard to make it on par with being drunk at the wheel or taking drugs at the wheel. Because using a mobile phone, I think there's studies show that your reaction time is even longer when you're using a mobile phone at the wheel than say when you're drinking and driving.
But it's an amazing story. You're incredibly lucky to be alive. I'm sure you appreciate that, despite how horrific the whole thing has been. I wish you the best of luck with your recovery, physically and mentally.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Bart, thank you very much indeed. Wow, what a story. 08459 455 555. Well, listening to that is BBC Three Counties Radio political correspondent and cycling expert Paul Scoins. Good morning, Paul.
Morning, Ian.
Now, you cycle to and from work pretty much every day. You also do big races, and you're keen into your cycling. You've even got the Lycra. When you hear something like that from Bart, how does that make you feel as a cyclist?
Well, it's terrifying, isn't it? Everyone always gets a bit of a fear when you get on the bike, and you know that you're going to be in amongst traffic, and you have to be as careful as you can. But sometimes you just can't account for other people, and that sounds like a horrible story. Really.
You had something horrific happen to you last night. I got your email. I didn't quite believe it when I read it. I thought it was a joke, and I read it again, and it was horrific. What happened to you?
Well, I have to say, I've never really experienced road rage before, and either as a motorist or as a cyclist, really. But last night, I was cycling home from work and was getting into Milton Keynes. I was on the A5, it was sort of a single carriage road, and I was just going along, and I noticed that a motorcycle had pulled alongside me after a roundabout. I hadn't seen this group. It was a group of motorcycles, and the final motorcycle in the group was alongside me. And I just, it was too close. You know, it was right on my shoulder. And I noticed then that he had a pillion passenger on him. And these passengers started nudging my hip with his hand. He just started pushing my hip to try and... I don't know what he was doing. And I sort of moved off slightly. I was very much in the curb, so I didn't have much room to go anywhere. They started nudging me again. So he nudged me a couple of times, and they were laughing. And it was obvious they were trying to push me off. And I slowed right down, and then they sort of, you know, made a hand gesture and drove off. And I was a bit shaken up by it, to be honest, because it was like, you know, what was he trying to do? It was obvious he was trying to push me off my bike. I was going about 20 miles an hour or something, and it was one of those moments where you sort of think, oh, is he just having a joke? He's just trying to tap me or something.
Yeah.
And then it was quite evident that no, it was a bit more sinister than that. They were trying to push me over, and that I hear all these things about cycling and people, you know, hating on cyclists, but that was that was the first time I've ever really properly experienced it. So it was fairly nasty. It shook me up a bit.
So he was trying to push you off. I'm sure you told him to go away in no uncertain terms. And what, they just laughed and rode off?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't get his number because it was facing slightly upwards anyway, so you couldn't really see it, which was probably done intentionally. And so I tried. I thought I might be able to catch them up, but they're on motorbikes, Ian, and you know I can't cycle that fast.
Come on, Scoins, you beat the sports team in a triathlon.
That is true. Yes, that is true. But no, it was it wasn't very nice.
I spoke to you last night. You were a little bit shaken up. I made light of it, and that seemed to anger you. I'm sorry for that. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm fine. I'm just about to come back in on the bike. So fingers crossed it'll all be okay. Oh man, I'm really sorry. Horrible people. Yeah. Well, the other week actually, I had someone spray something at me from a car as well, and I hear all these horrible stories about people spraying bottles of urine at cyclists, but I was on a little ride, and this group of lads just sprayed. All of a sudden, I felt water all over me. Now, it wasn't, I couldn't smell anything sinister. I think it was just water, but you do see it from time to time.
There was a story. Was it last week that a cyclist in Luton got wee-wee sprayed on them?
Yeah, well, it's very strange. It's a very strange reaction.
Why would people Why would anyone do that? Listen, if you don't like cyclists, you don't like cyclists. That's fine. We've all got our random irritations. There are certain types of drivers I don't like. But I don't go up and push their cars or spit at them or throw things at them.
Well, you wouldn't do it to someone in the street, would you? You wouldn't walk past someone and spray them with wee-wee. You know, it's just...
I mean, you raise a good ethical question there, Paul. Paul, listen, I'm really sorry that happened. Get back on your bike, and I wish you the best of luck coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Take care. 08459 455 555. That's right. A motorcyclist tried to push him off his bicycle.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M40 heading northbound's closed at the moment between Junction 2 for Beaconsfield and also Junction 3 at Loudwater after a serious accident there. The M25 heading anti-clockwise on the camera, looking very slow moving from Junction 17 at Maple Cross to Junction 15, the Thorney interchange. Also looking rather slow on the M1 heading southbound between Junction 10 at Luton Airport and Junction 9 for Redbourne. And it's queuing at the moment on the Barnet bypass heading southbound on camera between Stirling Corner and Mill Hill Circus. Disruption of about half an hour on First Capital Connect at the moment between Luton and St Pancras International, also affecting East Midland trains between Luton and St Pancras due to a signalling problem. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. Heads, where's my heads? Where's my heads? Where's my heads? There's my heads. It's 7:18. It's Friday, the 18th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. America is leading a call for a ceasefire in Ukraine to investigate the downing of a Malaysian airliner. There are calls for tougher penalties on drivers who kill cyclists, and a festival this weekend welcomes in the controversial revamped Hemel Old Town.
BBC Three Counties Radio. BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
Absolutely picturesque, beautiful bridge to drive over.
It's always been a lovely village, local, you know, and quiet.
And all this week, we're featuring some of our North Bedfordshire villages.
So much going on here, so much.
Living rural, you have rural atmosphere.
Inviting everyone to where you live.
It's a gorgeous village, very picturesque.
I think even when it's raining, it looks nice because it's villagey and pretty.
If you've got a story everyone should hear about, let us tell them about it.
It is home to us and it's just a lovely village.
Once you've moved here, you'll never leave.
I'll be here for a long time, I hope.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks from BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555. It's open season here today. You can call in about anything you want. I've had lots of abuse this week because I've not been discussing Gaza and Israel. Not very local, really. What am I supposed to say about it? It's bad, isn't it? End of conversation. If you want to... The thing about the show is, if there is a story that we're not doing that you think we should, you can call in and come on and say, well, why aren't you doing this? And this is why you should be doing this. So if you don't do that, then, 08459 455 555. Again, the big story of the day is the aeroplane disaster. What is there to say? Does it put you off flying? I mean, I guess that's a question. Does something like the Malaysian Airlines disaster put you off flying? Certainly puts me off flying with Malaysian Airlines. 2 in the space of, 4 months? 2 of the biggest air disasters in the last 20 years in the space of 4 months? You wouldn't want to fly with Malaysian again. Even if this wasn't there, even if neither of them were their fault. So I guess you can ask the question, do the front pages of all the newspapers, just horrific pictures. The front page of The Independent says it all. Shot out of the sky. Malaysia plane brought down, killing all 295 on board. Pro-Russian rebels suspected a missile attack. Bodies scattered across fields. At least 6 Britons thought to be among the dead. And just an horrific picture. We can ask that. Does something like that put you off flying? Maybe you're flying out of Luton today or at the weekend and you're kind of thinking, uh-oh, suddenly I'm not so keen. Or maybe you're one of those people who thinks, you know what? Disasters happen. Now that this has happened, it means that it's less likely to happen to me. Is that how you're thinking? 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call on that, your views on that. I've already had emails about the conspiracy theories. Man alive. I don't know about the conspiracy theories. Would this put me off flying? Probably not. I don't think it would. I would still go on holiday. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Now, for more than a year, we've been reporting on roadworks in Hemel Old Town. The project was beset by problems from the start. First, they found an old gravesite and work had to be stopped to allow the archaeologists in. Then work got going, but the council had to install CCTV to make sure the builders were building rather than, having a doze. And as the months went by, shoppers stopped shopping and local traders lost thousands and thousands of pounds. Well, this weekend, a street festival is being held to officially mark the opening of the new high street. Justin Dealey has been talking to Michael Porter from Jordan's and Pete's, one of the shops there.
So, Michael, we just stepped outside your antique shop. We're on the Old Town here. Everything's done. It's the opening party this weekend, the official opening party. I'm hoping you're going to tell me that your business has picked up dramatically.
Our week runs from Monday to Sunday. We're taking under £200.
So it hasn't picked up at all, though?
No, it's not the fact that people aren't buying, it's that there's nobody to come in. The whole high street is dead. The parking restrictions are ludicrous. People are parking in the wrong bays because they're not properly marked. When somebody come along with yellow paint to make so people know what's going on, little brass studs, how stupid. And so I very well say it's going to look good, but it's not helping any of the traders along here. I don't know anybody along here who's doing okay. Talking to people in the off licence, they're at their wits' end.
And what about these new shiny gates in preparation for the weekend? You must be a fan of those?
Why? It's just a gate. Why go to all that expense? And if they're going to be used on a very regular basis, I suppose. But, for what they're going to cost, just put some barriers across. That's good enough. It's just a waste of time and all this money being spent, and still there are no public conveniences. Some wazzock from the council said to me, oh, if somebody was desperate, you'd let them use their loo. I said to them, if you give me your address, I should come and knock on your door when I'm desperate. It's just absolutely ludicrous. And, the top-heavy lot of the council, they go around with clipboards grinning and so on. They're not interested. There is still, I'm convinced, some sort of hidden agenda they're not telling anybody.
Terry Doris from Hertfordshire County Council, of course, they're involved in this project, and Dacorum Borough Council. We're hoping Terry's going to come onto the programme today and talk about this a bit later on. The airwaves are yours, as somebody who's lost a lot of money here, somebody who's very angry about this and is still very angry about this. What's your message to him?
These people, they've got no involvement. They don't want to know. They've got nice comfy offices, jobs, pensions and everything. I'm 69, I'm still working because I need the money. And he couldn't care less about me, so why should I bother about him?
Well, one of the people we've spoken to a few times on this show is Barry Garvin, who runs Frets Music. Morning, Barry.
Hi there.
Barry, have you seen an upturn in trade since the roadwork's finished?
I wish we could say yes, but as previously stated, the road is still like a ghost town. It looks fantastic, and it would make a great backdrop for something like Midsummer Murders, but people aren't coming up because they come up, they look at the parking bays, they look at the signage, and I'm confused by it. I can't see where you can park and where you can't. And the thing that is most ridiculous is outside of off-the-wall antiques, where Michelle has been campaigning, against the whole parking signage. There's what is effectively a bus stop, which could take 4 or 5 vehicles, and there are no bus routes in the Old Town High Street. Oh. And we had a meeting some months back with council officials, and they said they're trying to find a bus company who are willing to come up there, but as of now, there isn't one. So there's all this space that could be utilised for the general public's benefit, which is what I thought this was done for. And it's just one big space that no one can use.
So, but Barry, one of the ways this was sold to us when we spoke to Terry Douris, I think I've got this. Terry isn't coming on the show this morning. Is that is that right? He's not coming on, right? One of the ways the selling points of this was there would be more and better parking, and you're saying it's confusing.
It's confusing. I mean, there are raised block areas which you'd think are just pedestrian, but apparently that they are loading bays, but it's not clear as to whether they're just commercial loading bays or whether anyone can just park there and load or unload. I regularly have customers come into the shop and they say, I have to rush, I'm illegally parked. And I say, where are you? And they point to their car and I say, oh, no, you can't park there for an hour. There is 1 hour free parking.
Is there a sign there saying that?
The signs are ambiguous. It's hard to see which area they apply to, and I think some of the posts have 2 and 3 different signs in them with arrows pointing different directions. And when people park up in a hurry, they just need to know, oh yeah, I can park here or can't park here. And the thing is that with the actual square next to the church, I think it's called St Mary's Close, apparently there are some spaces in there that you can park, but I wouldn't park in there because I don't know which they are. There's no definition. There's these tiny little studs on the floor. There's a couple of signs on a couple of posts, but do those signs just relate to that particular space, or do they relate to all of them? I don't know. So if I don't know, I'd seriously doubt anyone else does.
OK, what about those new gates, though, Barry? Come on, £60,000 gates, that's got to be worth it, isn't it?
Well, that money would have been better spent compensating the traders for their losses that we've incurred as a result of the ridiculously overextended roadworks. It should have taken 5 months. It's taken a year. Yes, it looks very nice, but I think that would have been better shared out as a compensation payment against the as a compensation payment for traders who've lost out. As previously stated, they could have just put temporary barriers up whenever there are events, or I'm sure that if they had to put gates up, there surely must have been a cheaper way of doing it.
The street festival that's happening this weekend, what do you think about that? Will that boost trade, do you think?
Well, I seriously hope so. I mean, it's a great idea. A lot of there's going to be a lot of participation. There's going to be live music and various entertainments, and hopefully that will get footfall up into the high street. I think there's still quite a lot of people who think the high street is as they last saw it, which is half dug up and fenced off. But I think if this gets people up into the high street again, it will be great for local traders, but we'll have to see what happens.
How long do you... Because last time we spoke, Barry, I know that that finances were an issue. How long do you think you can keep the business going if business carries on at this rate?
Well, it's difficult to quantify that at the moment. I'm kind of thinking that we'll have to see how the year pans out by December. If things don't drastically improve, I'm going to have to relocate because, you know, we're not there to play shops, and I speak for everyone. It's a great job that they've done. The high street does look fantastic, and if people could park without there being an issue, and the people are aware that they could park without there being an issue, I'm sure there'd be a lot more footfall in the high street, but they have to address the signage.
Barry, I wish you the best of luck. I appreciate your time. Barry Garvin from Fret's Music.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M40 heading northbound is closed at the moment between Junction 2 for Beaconsfield and Junction 3 at Loudwater due to an accident that happened earlier on this morning. That's also causing heavy traffic at the moment on the M40 London bound now between Junction 4 for the High Wycombe Handycross roundabout and Junction 3 at Loudwater, on camera looking very slow at the moment. Also queuing on the A355 heading northbound just at London Road isn't being helped by the problems on the M40. The M25 heading anti-clockwise, that's looking rather slow as well on camera from Junction 17 at Maple Cross to Junction 15, the Thorney interchange. The M1 slow heading southbound between Junction 10 for Luton Airport and Junction 9 at Redbourne, and delays of up to half an hour on First Capital Connect between Luton and St Pancras International, also affecting East Midland trains as well. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Jane Killick. There's international calls for an inquiry into the downing of a Malaysian airliner over Ukraine. The US Vice President says the plane was apparently blown out of the sky, killing almost 300 people. There are calls for tougher penalties for drivers who kill cyclists. A Freedom of Information request by the BBC to all UK police forces found that a quarter of those convicted weren't banned from driving. Controversial roadworks in Hemel Hempstead that caused businesses to lose thousands of pounds have been branded a complete waste of money. This weekend, a street festival is being held in the Old Town for the official opening of the new high street. The weather, hot, humid and mainly sunny. On to sport, and we start with golf. It's raining and the wind is getting up on the second day of the Open Golf at Hoylake, but leader Rory McIlroy doesn't tee off until 2:30 when conditions could have improved. He's one shot ahead of Italy's Matteo Manassero and two ahead of the group that includes Adam Scott, Sergio Garcia and Jim Furyk, with Tiger Woods just 3 shots off the pace. High Wycombe's Tyrell Hatton shot a 3-over par round yesterday and was disappointed with one hole in particular.
I just had one bad hole, I think it was on 5. I made triple there, and it's a good birdie opportunity, so I let 4 shots go on the field there, I think. But apart from that, I played okay. My putter was really good. I held quite a few par putts from like 6-7 feet, but it got a little bit tricky on the back 9 as the wind started to pick up.
In cricket, Jeff Boycott claims Alistair Cook will never make it as a tactical captain after England let India off the hook in the second test at Lord's. The tourists recovered from 145 for 7 to 290 for 9, with Boycott highly critical of England's short-pitch bowling and some of Cook's field placings. In last night's football friendlies, Luton Town beat Hitchin 5-0, striker Alex Wall scored a hat-trick, and there were goals from Sean Whalley and Mark Cullen. Borehamwood lost 3-1 at home to Brentford. In athletics, Milton Keynes long jumper Greg Rutherford has pulled out of the anniversary games in London this Sunday. It's as a precaution to prepare for the Commonwealth Games. He also didn't compete at last weekend's Glasgow Grand Prix after suffering a knee problem in warm-up. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next bulletin is at 8.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. We're asking after the second Malaysian air disaster this year, would that put you off flying at all? It can't really, can it? If you've got any sense, this won't put you off flying. I mean, even the most nervous flyer would realise that this may sound cold, statistically, this makes the air safer, doesn't it?
Yeah, I might have a look at my route more carefully.
Yeah, you make sure it's not flying over Ukraine. But statistically, there have been 2 big air disasters this year. So that means that you're probably the safest you've ever been in the air. Air disasters are so rare that to have 2 so close together, you're probably really, really safe, if that makes any sense. Is there a mathematician who can verify what I've just said?
It's certainly safer than riding your bike or driving your car.
08459 455 555 is the telephone number. We're also talking about bikes as well. What have we got on the texts?
Lots of talk about the signal this morning. I think atmospherics are playing a part.
Oh, blimey.
Keep drifting away on 95.5. Technical, methinks. Reverted to medium wave, so you're sounding like a pirate DJ, says Mike in Bedford.
This one's going out to all the boys and girls out there in North London.
Yeah, like that. We've also had this one through about...
It's good, though, isn't it?
Yeah, about the cyclist story.
Yeah.
I've never had much sympathy for any cyclist I see.
Oh.
I see how badly a significant proportion of them behave on roads, and it's always the driver's fault, says Dave.
Well, yeah, some of them do behave appallingly, but it doesn't warrant... The lad we spoke to doesn't warrant being... He sounded like he was obeying the rules of the road. Even if he wasn't, let's assume he wasn't for a second, and warrant being run over by a truck and having it go completely over you at all. What happened to your transmission? It keeps going off or into mono. Hey, back to mono, guys. I got... shall I read this drop email?
Oh, go on.
Oh, it annoys you, didn't it?
It upsets me. It hurts my feelings more than anything, but go on.
It'll make you stronger.
Go on.
Oh, I've got to find it first. How come we got no phone calls? They got bored of us.
We've got Dennis.
Like I say, how come we got no phone calls? Are they bored of us?
Me and Dennis have a chat every single day.
Yeah, I know you do.
He's had a new grandchild.
Yeah, I know.
No, this is brand new information.
A new one.
A brand new one.
Jeez.
Little boy.
Good for him. No, we're not that desperate. Right, I tell you what we're going to do.
We like Dennis.
No, I tell you what we're going to do. We're not going to read that email because it's not very nice. We're not going to talk to Dennis. We are going to sit here and we are going to wait for somebody who we have never spoken to before.
Oh.
Yeah. No, listen, if we're going to play cards, we're going to play strip cards. We are going to sit and wait for a phone call. No, not literally, Kelly.
Oh, sorry.
We're going to sit and wait for a phone call from somebody who has never called this show before.
I can hear you banging the desk.
I'm banging the desk firmly with Peter Pointer.
How do they do that?
08459 455 555. And we're just going to sit... I have got all day. It's your time you're wasting, not mine.
Well, mine as well.
Well, I mean, technically it's all of our time. I get paid whatever. I think, and I must make a quick phone call to my agent at the top of the hour just to verify that. So I can sit here and do nothing, or I can sit here and have a nice conversation with a long-time listener, first-time caller.
I like those.
Yeah, I like those. Or like first-time listener, first-time caller.
Because they're sitting there thinking, oh, I think he means me, but
I'm talking to you. Talking to you, mate. Lady, love, fella, son, daughter, sunshine. Not talking to Mohammed. He was a plum.
Well, that Mohammed was. There's probably a nice one.
Oh!
It works!
Well, hang on. Let's just see. Let's just see.
Seriously, I'm not... Why should I do all the work? You do some work, dear listener.
You've put your hand in the lucky dip. Let's see who's popping out.
OK, fine. 08459 455 555. I want you callers.
Oh, you're speaking to JVS, but not to Iain.
Perfect.
Are you happy if I put you straight...
Perfect.
Whereabouts are you calling from? Lovely, stay on the line. Liz from Hitching, Beta 1.
Liz, good morning, Liz.
Good morning, Iain.
How are you this morning?
I'm very well. Yourself?
I'm all right. Did you hear the thunderstorms last night?
Yes, I did. It kept me awake. I don't like them.
Do you not like them? I find them very comforting.
Oh, no. No.
Do you get a bit jittery?
I had to come downstairs, yes.
Did you really?
Yes.
It takes a lot to drag me out of bed when I can't sleep. I prefer to stay in bed and be grumpy.
Oh, right. No, I did get up.
I'm worried about the rabbit. I hope the rabbit's okay.
The rabbit?
Yeah, we got a rabbit in the garden, Benji Bunny.
Oh, okay,
And
yes.
I'm just hoping that he survived. Well, I'm hoping he survived the night, as I always do, but that the storm didn't panic him too much.
Well, did you not go and check this morning before you came out?
I couldn't be bothered. I'm not that worried. Well, no, I didn't, because it was very dark, and I have trouble locking and unlocking my back door.
Ah.
Which is the problem. So, Liz, listen, you've called in JVS. Are you a regular caller to Jonathan?
I have been on Jonathan's... I have come into the studio as well.
Oh.
Yes.
Are you a local celebrity?
Oh, yes.
Tell me why, Liz.
Well, first of all, it was about... Jonathan went to the dentist with me.
Why? Were you scared of that as well?
Yes, I haven't been to the dentist. Oh, no. I hadn't been to the dentist at that time for about 33 years.
Liz! You're supposed to go every 6 months.
I do now.
And he came to hold your hand?
Yes.
Oh, isn't that nice of him?
Yes.
How did that go?
It went very well. I was very nervous, but it went well, yes.
Were your teeth all right?
Yes, they were fine.
I do think dentists, along with iced coffee and organic food, are one of the biggest cons in society, because they do that every time I go to the dentist, Liz.
Think wrong, don't they?
There's something. Oh, you need a little bit of work there. You need to go and see the hygienist.
Yes,
that's the one. That's where they get the money. And I kind of think, you've not been for 33 years, and your teeth were all right. You brush your teeth, don't you?
Brush my teeth regularly.
Yeah, I brush my teeth. My teeth are fine. And yet every time I go, yeah, you're going to need this. You're going to need to go to the hygienist. So I think the dentists are a bit of a con.
Yes, I think so as well.
What else have you done with JVS?
Came in about being left-handed.
Oh, you're one of them, are you?
Yes.
Oh dear. Have you got left-handed scissors?
No.
Oh, left-handed can opener.
No.
Left-handed screwdriver?
No, not left-handed anything.
Oh, OK. My friend, who I saw yesterday, used to be a left-hander, and he's old enough, being 42, he's old enough, and he comes from Cornwall, or Devon, that they made him become a right-hander.
Oh.
At school. And I don't know, did they tie his hand behind his back, or did I dream that? They certainly would tell him off if he was seen using his left hand.
I was told off quite a bit as well.
Really?
Mm.
Why did anybody ever think, within living memory, that it was bad to be a left-hander?
I really don't know.
It's odd, isn't it? Some of the most... Paul McCartney's a left-hander. Jimi Hendrix was a left-hander.
My mum.
Catherine's mum is a left... What?
Yeah, she is.
Oh.
Was she in the Beatles?
No, but she's very creative and nice.
There you go. You see, creative, nice people.
I'm very nice, yes.
Well, I'm picking that up. OK, so is there a third incident with Jonathan Vernon Smith you've had? Or you're beginning to sound, with the greatest of respect, like a little bit of a stalker.
I've spoken to Justin.
Oh, dear, I'm so sorry about that, Liz. Listen, if you want to sue the BBC, what did Justin say to you?
He was outside Peacocks when Peacocks were going into liquidation.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And, yes, and I spoke to Justin, yes.
Oh, dear. Well, I hope you've managed to overcome that trauma. Liz, listen, while I've got you on, the Malaysian airline thing, was something like this put you off flying?
I don't like flying anyway.
Oh, Liz, for... Oh, dear! Let's go through the Liz list. You don't like dentists.
No.
You don't like thunderstorms.
No.
You don't like flying.
No.
What do you do?
Not a lot.
Oh, man.
I work a lot.
Where does all this nervousness come from?
I'm all right once I'm up in the air.
Yeah.
Taking off from the landing, I just, well, it's just like a white knuckle ride. My fingers go white. I perspire.
Yeah.
Head to foot, and I just think, oh my God, what am I doing?
Do you know what? I used to be the same, not quite as bad, but I used to be the same with the whole flight, and then it was just take off and landing. I still get quite ill during the landing. My ears really hurt, and I feel nauseous. But I'm not particularly scared anymore. I don't like looking out of the window. I don't want to see what's going on.
I'm all right once I'm up, and I'm on the aisle, the seat of the aisle,
yeah.
And I'm all right.
Oh, aisle seat every time, definitely. Definitely. Although then you've got the people who want to get past for a wee just as you're dozing off. But so with something like this then, this must terrify the life out of you.
What's that?
This Malaysian airplane that's been shot down.
Yeah, but I haven't been on a plane for about 13 years now. So.
Oh, blimey. Hey, here you go. Get JVS.
I take me on a plane.
Yeah, to pay for a trip to New York or something. He could buy the ticket. We'll sort this out, right? JVS is going to buy you a ticket to New York. He's going to fly with you, and then you can go have a nice little shopping spree. Liz, leave it to me. I'll have a word with Jonathan. We'll sort that out. Thank you, Liz. There we go.
Good idea.
Good idea. Jonathan, I've got you a feature. It's going to cost you a few £100. Don't worry about it. I won't take any commission from that. That's yours. You can have that. There's your Sony. Now, see, that was nice. A caller we've never had on the show before, and we learnt a lot. We learnt that Liz is a baby.
Oh.
Is a big baby.
But she's interesting.
She's interesting, you see. You see, that was worth holding out for.
I sat next to a nervous flyer on our return journey from New York when we just got engaged.
So you got engaged to a nervous flyer?
No, I got engaged to somebody else, but we got
your husband?
Yeah.
Why would you get engaged to someone you're married to?
Well, we weren't married then.
I can just keep them coming if you want.
Yeah. Anyway, so we got separated, and I ended up holding this.
You got separated from your husband? That's really sad. Why didn't you tell us?
He was sitting across the plane.
Are you still together?
Across the aisle. Yeah, we are now. Anyway, shut up.
So you got back together? Well, that's nice.
At the end. But
there's hope for everyone. So you got separated from your husband and then you've reconciled.
But on the
now
way...
they're engaged.
Yeah.
Again?
So the point...
I don't think you can be engaged to your husband.
The point is...
Is your husband okay with flying now or not? I'm confused. We can keep him coming.
The point was...
Yeah.
The funny thing about that story was...
Oh, there's a funny thing to this story. OK, hang on, let me get comfy. Hang on, let me have a little sip of coffee. Hang on.
I'd like another coffee, actually.
I'm ready. Go.
What was the funny bit?
The funny bit of the story is...
I just got...
I'll tell you what, we'll find out after this.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M40 heading northbound is closed after an accident that happened earlier between junction 2 for Beaconsfield and also junction 3 for Loudwater. Now seeing congestion to junction 1A for the M25. Looking rather slow as well on the M40 London bound as people slow down to see what's going on. And also taking a look at the A355, that's looking rather slow heading northbound at London Road. The M25 heading anti-clockwise, that's rather slow moving from junction 17 at Maple Cross to junction 15 for the Thorney interchange, and queuing at the moment on the Barnet bypass heading southbound between Stirling Corner and Mill Hill Circus. Disruption on First Capital Connect of about half an hour between Luton and St Pancras International, also affecting East Midland trains between Luton and St Pancras as well. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Nicola, thank you very much. Coming up, the funny part of Catherine's divorce story. I don't quite know how that's going to pan out. Sounded very tragic, but it's 7:46. It's Friday, the 18th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. There is international calls for an investigation into the shooting down of an airliner over Ukraine with the death of almost 300 people. Only a quarter of drivers convicted for killing cyclists on the road are sent to jail. And the revamp of Hemel Hempstead Old Town is being branded a waste of money ahead of a festival this weekend. Coming up, Ants Bants and the funny part of Catherine's story. Before that, let's get the weather. Here's Sarah.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah, not much funny about my part of the story because we've had some torrential downpours through the night. Largely they've cleared away, but the heat is building once more and we're going to run the risk of further torrential downpours through the latter part of today and through much of this weekend too. Actually, at the moment, things are drying out nicely. We've got some good sunshine out there. The temperatures are rising. They didn't fall too far overnight and we're at 18 degrees at the moment. In some spots, 20 degrees towards High Wycombe just now. So the temperatures will continue to rise. We're looking at highs today, certainly touching 30, but somewhere in our part of the world is looking at 31 or 32 degrees through the day today. Another hot day then, the hottest day of the year so far. Dry and sunny for a good deal of it, but late this afternoon into the evening, further thundery showers to make their way in from the south. We've got a Met Office weather warning in force from tonight right the way through the day tomorrow because we'll continue with them through the night and they'll continue through the day tomorrow as well. At this point, looks like we'll start with some torrential downpours, then we might have a drier interlude for a time before the heat once again sparks off showers in the afternoon tomorrow and further of them move in from the south. Cater for them right the way through the day then. They are actually torrential enough that we do have that Met Office weather warning in force and still some around on Sunday. Looks like the bulk of them could stay out towards the east, but running the risk of them still on Sunday. Monday should be drier and fresher with highs of around 24 or 25 degrees. But for now, we're watching these torrential downpours come in through the night tonight.
every weekday morning.
My show's called The JVS Show, 9 o'clock in the morning on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Jonathan Vernon Smith.
I deal with the consumer problems that affect people all over Beds, Herts and Bucks.
And I said, well, I didn't come all this way to be looking at a broken down hotel.
Those companies, those councils, those organisations that are letting people down.
This guy turned around and said to me that they're not prepared to pay me, and I said, so you're forcing me to take action. And he said, good luck, and put the phone down on me.
I get my teeth into them.
Oh, Jonathan, I'll start crying soon. We don't know what to do.
Deal with them and hopefully get results for you, the consumers.
And it got so convoluted, I thought there's only one person who can sort this out.
The JVS Show on BBC Three Counties Radio.
OK, so a little recap. Before the travel and the news, Catherine was telling us how she met her husband in a nervous flyers rehabilitation group. They then went on a flight to Saudi Arabia. He was nervous, and since then they've divorced, but they're working on their relationship and getting back together. That's great. You're going to get to the funny part of the story now.
That's lovely, and that's someone else's story. My story was we got engaged in New York, and on the way back we got separated because we hadn't got, like, pre-booked seats. That was quick. I ended up sitting next to a very nervous flyer.
Was he handsome?
She...
Oh, I say, how modern.
Held my hand. All the way up. And all the way down again.
They do.
That was the funny thing about it. I just got engaged to someone, but I ended up with another woman on the return leg. And we've been very happy ever since.
I bet your fiancé loved that. But he thought, quoi? Eh? Quoi? Eh? Did you think that? Did he look over and go... Quah, give you the wink and the thumbs up as if to say, it's all right by me, girl.
He's not a crow. What's quah?
Quah.
What's the funny bit? Is that still coming up?
The holding someone else's hand when you just got engaged. It's kind of not allowed.
I don't think separating from your husband is particularly funny. I mean, I can understand why you'd want to, try and make light of that, but...
We weren't married.
But so you've married this woman now?
Yeah,
What's her name?
Yeah, okay. Julie.
That's nice.
Yeah.
What does she do?
Holds my hand.
I don't know if I approve, to be honest.
Why?
Well, this same-sex marriage thing, I'm not really convinced. You've demeaned my marriage by doing that, haven't you?
Have I?
Yeah, of course you have.
Oh, sorry about that.
But, still, if you love someone...
I suppose so. Listen, live, as long as you don't ram it down my throat, eh? But still, quah. Eh? Quah.
Across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hey up, Chuck. Now, last week, we were invaded by flying ants. Has Justin written this cue? Is this a Justin cue?
Yes, I didn't touch it. I thought I'd leave it as it was. Is he referring to them as flants yet?
I've not got that big a problem with flying ants, OK? But Justin hates them. He's offended by them, nay, scared of them. So I'm going to read this as it's written by Justin Dealey, OK?
Do it in his voice.
Last weekend, girl, we were invaded by disgusting, evil flying ants. That's what he's written. Well... we have an exclusive coming up in a moment. But first, we sent me, Justin Dealey, onto the streets to ask the all-important question. Flying ants, why?
Big question is, Mick, flying ants, why?
Well, they're... Can I just say, he's doing the voice he does when he's going to someone whose house has just burnt down and they've lost their pet dog. He's doing that voice.
They're future queens, aren't they? They fly away so they can start new colonies. They're sat here about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Thousands of them.
Jay, the big question on Iain's show this morning. Flying ants. Why?
Weather. Humid weather, I suppose. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. Did that attack you?
Attack the bus. Anything white.
Anything white?
You got anything white on, you got a white shirt on, you'll be covered in them. It's like if you've got yellow on, a wasp will come onto you.
What about other colours, then, that we should be wary of?
Green. They might think you work at Asda's.
Well, evolution. If they grow, most some species of ants, when they grow feathers. It's a species. Probably if it has never been here, it has emigrated, maybe from the Middle East, Far East, something like that.
So what you're saying is then over the weekend we were invaded by illegal foreign immigrants. That's what you're saying, isn't it, correct?
Yeah, in a matter of speaking. Morning,
Gov. Flying ants, why?
It's due to thunderstorms are on the way, apparently.
Is that what it is?
Apparently.
Lorraine, you're a cyclist. Lovely, lovely bike. Now, talk to me about these flying ants, the flants, having some ants-bants this morning. Were you attacked by flying ants at the weekend?
Not attacked by them, but there were a lot around the garden.
Yeah, our big question this morning, Iain Lee wants to know, flying ants, why?
No, the weather. Humid, very humid.
Are they going to come back?
I have no idea. I'm not an ant specialist.
I'm going to go and try and find one.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Well, that lady may not have been an ant specialist, but Adam Hart is. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning.
We heard a lot of what sounded like baloney there. Was any of that true? One gentleman said that we had the flying ants because thunderstorms were coming, and we have thunderstorms. Is there a connection?
Well, it's often said that there is, but actually, we've been doing this flying ant survey now for 3 years, and if you look back through the data that we've got, there seems to be no connection at all, but it's quite a complex data analysis sort of exercise that we're doing, so we can't say for sure, but the fact is we live in Britain, which is surrounded by sea. When it gets warm, we get thunderstorms, and at some point we also get flying ants. I had flying ants yesterday. I didn't have any thunder today. So these sorts of things are very, very difficult to piece together. It doesn't seem as though thunderstorms are necessarily a factor, but certainly warm weather is, because as one of your Vox Pops people said, this is all about ants reproducing, and it's all about ant colonies sending out new queens and new males, and obviously they want to go out and fly when it's nice and warm because it's easy for them to do. It's quite good if the ground is a little bit moist, or is about to be, because the queens are going to be sort of digging down and making a new nest. So all of these things are likely to be important. But what's interesting is that now, because of kind of citizen science, because of the internet and because of mobile phone technology and things, we can gather data. We can be everywhere at all times, and that's what we're doing with this. We're getting people to report their sightings, and then we can look at Met Office data, we can look at all the other kind of bits and pieces, and we can try and piece together exactly why they do it. Because interestingly, although they do this every year, this isn't some unusual thing. In fact, this year is a different pattern from the year before and a different pattern from the year before that. This isn't unusual. We actually don't know very much about it, because it's only recently that we've been able to have everyone everywhere reporting their sightings and start to do this kind of joining up exercise.
So is the Flying Ant Day a myth? For me, it was last Saturday, where there were loads of them.
Absolutely a myth.
Right.
Let me quickly go through the data that we've got so far. Year one, 2 years ago, we had two big peaks. One was in late July and one was in kind of mid-August. And we thought, there's kind of two flying ant days. But actually, when you look at the data, it's sort of 3 or 4 days either side. It's more like two flying ant weeks. And we thought, well, that's quite interesting. Last year, the weather was glorious, and we ended up with a pulse every sort of 10 days, 12 days of yet more flying ants. We never had days when people weren't reporting them. So there was almost like a flying ant month and a half last year. This year it started even earlier. I think this time last year we had something like 200 reports. This time we've already got nearly 2,000, and that's not down to more publicity. If anything, we've had less publicity this year for it. It's just down to different patterns, different weather, different things going on, and that's what we're trying to tease out with getting people to report their sightings.
We had another voice there say that all of the flying ants are queens. Are they all queens, or are some of them butch?
No, some of them are butch, some of them are males. So they release queens and males. The thing is, the females don't want to mate with their brothers, so they won't mate inside their own colony, so they have to go out and mate with males from other colonies. And this is called a nuptial flight, actually.
Romantic.
Yeah, it's very romantic. So it's basically a giant orgy in the sky.
Not quite so romantic.
So it's less romantic when you get up close, but as is often the case. But yes, it's males and females. And you can see in the most common species we've got, if you look at the flying ants, which people often don't do, we kind of see them buzzing around and we just dismiss them. But go up close and have a look at them. They won't hurt you. They're completely harmless. And you'll see that there are two different sizes. And the larger ones are the females that could become queens. They could start a new colony if they survive the onslaught of seagulls and various other things. And the smaller ones are the males that are going to be mating with them.
And finally, Adam, you're saying you're collecting data from everywhere. Can listeners get involved?
Yes, the best thing to do is just Google Flying Ant Survey, and the first hit there will take you straight to the Society of Biology's survey page, and it's really, really simple. All we want is where you saw them and when you saw them, basically. You can add more information if you want. That's an option, but the very basic detail is where and when. That could be your postcode, could be if you've got a GPS-enabled phone, you can upload all sorts of bits and pieces, but it's incredibly simple. It takes about 15 seconds to put it in. It's just the postcode and the time.
And where did what's the website? Where do they go for that?
The easiest way is just to Google Flying Ant Survey, and then you'll find it.
Adam, thank you very much. I'm genuinely glad there are people like you researching this kind of stuff, because this is the kind of stuff that drives me nuts. Adam Hart, who is an entomologist but also an ant expert. He was good, Kath.
He was really good.
Did Justin sort him out?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of Justin's.
That's funny, isn't it? Because you look at the fella and he's just a plum, but he's got it was good, that. Yeah, well, thank you. I didn't know what she said. 08459. Pick us a winner, Kelly.
I'm blowing my nose.
Yeah, pick us a winner.
That doesn't work for that. So.
Oh, well, when a finger is up the nose, that's not a blow.
My finger was not up my nose.
Your finger was totes up nose.
I've got tissue here.
Your finger was T-U-N.
That's my
T-U-N.
T-U-N.
Totes up nose. Pick us a winner.
Y-I. Y-A-I.
Y-A-I. You...
Your... and...
Oh, for goodness sakes. Y-A-T.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M40 heading northbound closed at the moment between Junction 2 for Beaconsfield and Junction 3 for Loudwater following an accident earlier. Now looking busy from Junction 1A, the M25. Taking a look at the moment in the A355 heading northbound, that's looking rather slow as well, just at London Road, and rather heavy moving on the A40 at London Road heading northbound between Beaconsfield and High Wycombe. The M25 looking heavy heading anti-clockwise from Junction 17 at Maple Cross to Junction 15, the Thorney interchange, and delays of up to half an hour on East Midland trains between Luton and St Pancras International. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Nicola. So this morning, lots to talk about. Cycling. Are you put off flying because of what's happened overnight? And it's an open house. You can come in and talk about anything you want. Is that all right, honey?
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Jane Killick. The headlines. Russia and Ukraine blame each other for bringing down a Malaysian airliner. Calls for tougher penalties for killing cyclists, and shopkeepers in Hemel Old Town hope a festival tomorrow will bring back customers.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The US is leading demands by the international community for all sides in the conflict in eastern Ukraine to support an immediate ceasefire to allow an investigation into the shooting down of a Malaysia Airlines jet. Nearly 300 people died. 9 Britons are said to be among the victims. Lord Peter Truscott, a former Labour MEP for Hertfordshire who is a member of the EU delegation to Russia, says it will probably take some time to identify who's to blame.
It would have to be a pretty sophisticated missile, so that would mean that it's either been taken from the Ukrainian military or the Russian military, or it's been fired by the military. So I don't think we'll get to the bottom of this until there is a full investigation, but I think our thoughts at the moment should be really with the families of those that have appeared to have died and their loved ones.
There are calls for tougher penalties for drivers who kill cyclists. A Freedom of Information request by the BBC to all UK police forces found that a quarter of those convicted weren't banned from driving. Cyclist Bart had a lucky escape when he was run over by a lorry.
I screamed. I was absolutely helpless there. So I went under the whole thing. And, I was expecting to die under there. I was just waiting for the lights to go out, really. My eyes were open. I saw the truck thunder over me. I was right in between the left and right wheels.
A report into claims that hardline Muslims tried to infiltrate schools in Birmingham is said to have found evidence of coordinated action to introduce what's described as an aggressive Islamist agenda. The Guardian newspaper says it's seen a leaked copy of the report, which was commissioned by the Department for Education. Shopkeepers in Hemel Hempstead's Old Town say they're still struggling on the eve of a festival to celebrate its new look. The scheme's been beset with problems since the work began last June. Barry Garvin from Fret's Music Shop says he'll wait until December to see if his business will survive because, at the moment, the customers haven't come back.
The road is still like a ghost town. It looks fantastic and it would make a greght backdrop for something like Midsummer Murders, but people aren't coming up because they come up, they look at the parking bays, they look at the signage, and I'm confused by it. I can't see where you can park and where you can't.
40% of adults in England could be offered statin drugs to protect them against heart attacks and strokes under new guidelines for the NHS. The National Institute for Health and Care Excellence says the threshold for starting preventive treatment should be extended to people at lower risk. A memorial service is being held today for the son of a Luton woman who died in Nepal last year. The body of 23-year-old Matthew Allpress was found in the mountains where he'd been trekking. Friends and family will be attending the service in Australia, where Matt lived. And in football last night, Luton Town beat Hitchin 5-0 in their friendly. The weather, a hot and humid day with good sunny spells and a risk of 1 or 2 heavy thundery showers. Temperatures up to 32 Celsius. And get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
When you go out, even just walking your dog of an evening, people will stop and chat to you.
It's all about where you live.
It's a gorgeous village, very picturesque. It has a lovely meal.
And all this week, we're featuring some of our North Bedfordshire villages.
It's a good old community, a bit like the Hot Fuzz community.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
56 minutes away from the weekend, baby. Lots to talk about this morning. We'll be talking about cycling. How safe do you feel on the roads? We heard from Paul Scoins, political reporter, earlier on. Some idiot on a motorbike tried to push him off his bicycle last night. Horrible, horrible people. We're also going to be talking about cherries. It says on my screen. Are you put off flying after the Malaysian Airlines disaster yesterday? And basically, it's an open door policy this morning. You can come in about anything you want. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now! Sorry?
I thought you'd done...
Now, campaign groups are... Sorry?
Why have you got our mic open?
Because I wanted to see you panic.
It's just made us giggle.
Okay. So...
I'm not giggling anymore.
Good.
Get on with it.
Okay. Now, campaign groups. Why are we...
Stop giggling.
Stop opening that microphone.
I'm doing it to make you panic.
It's just making me giggle.
Okay, well, I won't stop until you're panicked.
Okay.
Okay. Now, campaign groups are calling...
Panic.
That's better.
Thanks.
Why are we talking about cherries later on?
Richard wants to. You said they could talk about anything. This is what you're going to get.
But Richard in Winslow, of all people. Now, dear boy, I want to say...
He's calling it the cherry conundrum, so...
Flipping it. OK, well, we will be talking to Richard in Winslow about cherries later on if we're totally desperate. Now, campaign groups are calling for tougher sentencing after a BBC investigation found you've got a less than 50% chance of being jailed if you hit and kill a cyclist. There have been 20 such deaths in the three counties since 2007. 15 of those drivers were convicted, only 9 went to prison, and the average sentence is 2 years. Well, Carlton Reid is executive editor of BikeBiz.com, that's biz with a B-I-Z, and Brian Gregory is director of the Alliance of British Drivers. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Carlton, as a cyclist, are you surprised by these figures we're hearing about today?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm kind of shocked that you're more likely to go to jail if you kill a pedestrian, which I find that very strange, that there is this disparity in sentencing.
Why do you think we have this disparity? Is it because the cyclists perhaps are sometimes part of the problem as well?
Well, cyclists aren't the one killing people. So clearly the problem is the people that are killing people. I think it boils down to we don't really take road safety really genuinely seriously in this country, and the sentencing totally reflects that. And the news story that the BBC has got online has a quote from somebody who's going through the judicial process, who's saying, "I just didn't see somebody on the road. Why should I go to jail for that?" Well, that captures it in a nutshell, really, because if the sentencing was tougher, then maybe people would take pay more attention on the road to people who aren't in armour.
Brian, from the Alliance of British Drivers, it's all the driver's fault.
Yeah, well, it's always all the driver's fault. And the very fact that what Carlton just said shows the problem we're up against. The precipitating factor, looked but did not see, is hugely evident in an awful lot of road accidents, and it's caused by something called saccadic masking. And what happens is, when you're at a junction as a driver and you're looking for other vehicles, your eye, you can't capture all the images as you pan and look. So your brain sort of takes snapshots, and in between there are saccades where you move. And in the saccades, your eye just sort of your brain fills the gaps in. And it's quite easy to miss not just cyclists, motorcycles, other vehicles. And that's why we get so many look but did not see accidents. And you actually need to be trained to avoid the onset of saccadic masking.
Carlton?
So, this is the problem. What we need to do is forensically analyse all the road accidents, pedestrian and cyclist, find out what the actual predominant precipitating factors are, and then fix our policies based on what's the optimal solution. Not just knee-jerk, ban them all, put them all in prison because it's all their fault, because it may not be.
Brian, let Carlton come in.
Carlton, science right.
Carlton, what do you say to that?
Well, if that's true, then that just means people should be taking even more care.
Yes, but you need to
reflect that even more carefully if that science is correct. If Brian is saying people genuinely can't see, well, we need the sentencing to reflect that they ought to see, because these are vulnerable people on roads.
Yeah, I agree entirely with that, and we need to make sure that everybody's trained to deal with those situations, and cyclists need, under a lot of circumstances, to cycle defensively, because, as Carlton rightly pointed out, in general, in a collision between a cyclist and a motor vehicle, the cyclist's going to come off worst.
There are some terrible drivers, Brian, who have no respect for cyclists, who drive far too close to them, who park it, who pull up at traffic lights in that section that's reserved for bicycles. There is a huge problem with a big number of drivers.
Yeah, and there's a problem with a significant number of cyclists. I've been involved. Well, I observed one incident myself and was involved in one where I nearly collected a cyclist simply because he was travelling in an area with no street lights, and it went into a dip. And he was just not wearing anything.
Brian, don't worry. We'll get to that point in a second with Carlton.
I'm not saying that anybody is blameless, but what we need to do is, as I said, we need to look at the science and the statistics of the accidents, the predominant precipitating factors, and adjust our policies accordingly.
Brian, I will put the point about dodgy cyclists to Carlton in a second. Don't worry, it's not completely one-sided. But what do we do? Surely drivers who do drive badly and who don't respect cyclists and cause accidents, then they should be punished more severely, shouldn't they?
If they've done something with malice of forethought, absolutely, because, in general, most people do not go out with the intention of killing and maiming other road users. But if you go out and deliberately try to run somebody off the road, that's akin to walking into a pub or something with an iron bar and
not even deliberately, just driving disrespectfully and badly. Should those people go to prison?
There's a difference, though, between malevolence and either lack of knowledge or inconsideration. But that's a training and education issue that we need to address.
Carlton, some cyclists don't do themselves any favours, do they? They wear dark clothes at night, they don't have lights on, they jump through traffic lights. What about those cyclists?
Well, that's a whataboutery type of argument. Look that up on Google.
No, I'm not going to. We're having a conversation, Carlton. If a cyclist jumps through a traffic light and gets hit by a car, that's the cyclist's fault, isn't it?
But that's what the judges are there for. So the judges will then decide all of these.
What do you think? What do you think? If a cyclist jumps through a red light and is hit by a car coming from the side, do you think that's the cyclist's fault? Should that, if that cyclist is killed, should that driver go to prison?
But that's what the judge is there for.
But what do you think, Carlton? I'm asking for your opinion.
Well, of course, that will be a mitigating factor.
So that's the cyclist's fault, isn't it?
What the BBC has found out is that people aren't being jailed but when they have been convicted. So,
well, maybe that's part of the reason. Maybe that's one of the stories. Carlton, I'm just asking your opinion as the editor of BiteBeers.com.
I gave my opinion. I said there are mitigating factors there. So
that is the cyclist's fault?
Well, each case is going to be different.
No, but Carlton, I'm asking you about a very specific incident. If a cyclist jumps through a red light and is hit by a car coming from the side, is that the cyclist's fault, yes or no?
It's almost no point asking that. It's patently obvious. Of course, if the cyclist has caused it, there's no reason for that driver to go to jail.
Thank you, Carlton.
The cases...
No, but that wasn't the question. That wasn't the question. The question was, is it the cyclist's fault?
Well, if the cyclist has gone through a red light, then of course, and the motorist hits that person, it is not the motorist's fault, because the motorist has, in that particular example, has priority. But these are not the cases that are being brought up. The cases that are always in the media, and never that, I've never seen that before. It's always aggravating circumstances with motorists killing cyclists, and it's not that case. So bringing that one...
No, but you're saying that never happens. You're saying cyclists never jump through red lights and get hit by cars.
No, I didn't say that. Of course I didn't say that. That happens. And motorists go through red lights all the time. But this is not a tit-for-tat thing. This is... The BBC has found that judges are not sentencing people to jail for crimes. And why aren't they doing that? That is the crux of the problem here. Why a cyclist... You're less likely to get jailed if you kill a cyclist than if you kill a pedestrian. Nobody wants to see pedestrians or cyclists killed, but there is a disparity in people going to jail. And if it's a 20% gap, there's something strange going on.
Brian?
Well, I think Carlton hit the nail on the head when he said that you need, there are always mitigating circumstances. You need to look at each accident in forensic detail, and that's presumably what our judges are doing when they're sentencing people. Certainly people make errors of judgment, but the vast majority don't do it with the intention of hurting or killing somebody else. The ones that do, we need to bear down on them extremely severely.
Chaps, listen, fascinating conversation. I appreciate your time, both of you. It's Carlton Reid, executive editor of BikeBiz.com, and the last voice you heard there was Brian Gregory, director of the Alliance of British Drivers. It's funny, isn't it? Why is it? I wouldn't ride a bicycle in town. I wouldn't ride it in central London, definitely. I wouldn't ride it around here in Luton, to be honest.
I bought one of those child seats when I had little...
Oh, I couldn't do that.
When I had my first, and I soon got put off actually riding it. Because I felt it was irresponsible for me to do that.
The child seats and those little kind of carriages that you pull behind you...
They're worse.
That the kiddies sit in. I could not do that. That would be terrifying. Terrifying. 08459 455 555. BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the travel.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Still seeing
Nicola
on the... Hello.
Have you been
getting on a roll?
No, get off the roll. Have you been listening this morning?
Yeah, I always do when I dial in.
Yeah.
I'm always very amused.
Yeah. I'm not sure... I don't know. Well, no, OK, we'll do this on it. I'm not sure you have been listening.
Why?
Well, you've sent a really nice tweet, and I appreciate that. But see if you can spot what's wrong with this tweet that you've sent, OK?
Oh, goodness me.
Not only is doing the travel news for Iain Lee Breakfast Show, BBC 3CR entertaining, it's also hugely educational.
Yeah.
Hashtag Queen Bees.
Yeah, you were talking about those orgies in the sky.
Catherine, do you want to point out her mistake?
We were talking about flants, not bees.
I'm going to delete that tweet.
I would like you to delete that tweet. I would like you to issue an apology, which I will retweet, and then I'd like you to write that tweet again, but with flants, not queen bees. Okay?
Flants. All right. Done.
On you go, Nicola. Unbelievable attitude.
The M40 heading northbound at the moment is closed between Junction 2 for Beaconsfield and Junction 3 for Loudwater due to an accident that happened earlier on. The M25 heading anti-clockwise, reports of one lane being blocked at the moment. That's between Junction 17 for Maple Cross and Junction 16, the M40. Taking a look so far in Borehamwood, the Barnet Bypass looking heavy heading southbound between Stirling Corner and Mill Hill Circus, and delays of up to 20 minutes on East Midland trains between Luton and St Pancras International, also affecting First Capital Connect services. That's due to a signalling problem. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you. Do those tweets now, Nicola, won't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you very much indeed. 8:17. It's Friday the 18th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. America is leading for a call for a ceasefire in Ukraine to investigate the downing of a Malaysian airliner. There are calls for tougher penalties on drivers who kill cyclists, and a festival this weekend welcomes in the controversial revamped Hemel Old Town.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, I'm not normally one to talk about myself, but next Friday I might make an exception.
And the station, I think, when I launched it, I knew that it was going to sound pretty good.
Well, I'm allowed this time. I'm celebrating 50 years of broadcasting.
Caroline South, Tony Blackburn here with you.
Tune to Radio Caroline on 199.
Wonderful Big L. The happy sound of Radio 1.
Join me and relive some of my 50 years. It's not just me waffling on about me. I'll have some great music too.
He's a 24/7 broadcaster and he will go on forever.
50 years of me next Friday night from 7 here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
#1. Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning! It's true, that's what I'm going to do with that.
Really?
That's what I'm going to do with that little fund, yes.
Oh, I see.
Going to indulge myself.
I see.
You look really sleepy. Got sleepy eyes.
Oh,
Morning,
I'm
sleepy
so
eyes.
tired.
What's wrong?
I didn't sleep well last night.
Oh, mate, why?
It was the...
It was
the thunder.
Oh.
And it's terrible.
Well...
And it was so warm. I mean, I love the warm weather.
Look at his eyes!
I had my fan on.
Look at his eyes, Kath.
Didn't you sleep in the nuddy?
I don't sleep in the nuddy. That's unhygienic and disgusting.
I slept... Last night, it was hot. I slept in the nuddy, and I didn't have a sheet on the bed either.
Oh.
This was insane.
What, you slept on a mattress?
Yeah,
in the nude?
In the nude.
That's disgusting. You're like a tramp.
Well, it was soaked with urine, actually. I think that's why
really?
I think my boys. I think that's why the shoe. So, but look at his eyes.
Yeah, I'm tired. I'm genuinely tired.
You still look handsome, Jim.
Thanks, Kelly. And yesterday wasn't a good afternoon.
Sorry?
My cat's got fleas. I've had to defumigate my house.
Is that because you've let him out?
Because I've moved to this new house, and the cat, for the first time ever, he's now no longer a house cat. He gets to go outside.
No. You've got to keep him indoors for 6 weeks.
What? No, but he only goes out in the garden when I'm there.
Oh, Jonathan, no, you have to keep him indoors for 6 weeks.
Why?
Otherwise he doesn't know where to come back to.
You'll go back.
He'll go back to the...
No, but he can't leave. It's secure.
You're right, cats... You've got a roof over the garden, have you?
Pretty much.
Well, you've got netting or something over the garden.
He can't get out.
He's a cat. Cats can do anything.
I can't go into detail, but due to high-level security fencing, he can't get out.
Have you got electric fence?
Yeah. So,
fantastic!
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
And anyone who tries to break him will be shot. But I've got fleas everywhere. I noticed he was scratching, and I thought, oh God.
Yeah.
So I bought all this chemical stuff. He's had, he's been defumigated.
Okay.
The house has been defumigated.
The house, yeah. You won't get rid of those bad boys.
Oh, it's just disgusting.
That's it now.
Everywhere.
You look a bit itchy.
Don't, because that was part of the reason I didn't sleep last night. I was feeling itchy in bed.
Do you need to scratch your neck or something?
No, I don't need to.
Okay.
Why are you looking at me as if I've got fleas all over me?
I just thought I saw something move.
No, don't.
No, I just thought I did, but it's fine.
Stop looking at me like that. I've not got fleas.
Okay, if that's... Listen,
you're the one that slept on a mattress in the nude.
You're the one that's got fleas in your house. Yes. There's no shame in either of those things at all.
Oh no!
Oh dear.
So will they go now? I've never had fleas before. This is quite disgusting.
My cat has never had fleas.
Really?
Yeah, she's a good girl. She's a clean girl. But you need to deflea your cat every 6 months. Then
every month.
Oh, is it every month now? They say.
Yes.
Okay. It's all money, isn't it?
It is all money.
You need to get a special comb as well and comb the fleas out.
I've got the comb.
You got the comb.
That's how I noticed there were fleas in him.
Craig, you've got fleas, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. No, I haven't.
You've got some advice for JVS?
I have, yeah. What you do is you need to get someone in. Buying stuff over the counter is really good for the people that sell it over the counter, but you have to be so thorough and you would have to buy so much.
Yeah.
Fleas lay their eggs in and around the skirting, and they only ever go on to the cat or you to feed. They don't stay on you.
Oh, my God.
I know, and you know, they can lay dormant for a long, long time. I've been into a property that had been empty for 3 months, and it was due to be let. And as soon as I walked in, they start to hatch out when you breathe out carbon dioxide out of your breath.
Activated the flea eggs.
Absolutely, yeah. And it was like water on a drum. As you walked in, you could see the carpet moving.
Oh no! Well, this isn't like this. I mean, let's not be over the top about this, Craig.
But it could be. They breed very quickly, don't they?
It will be.
Yeah.
They keep hatching and hatching. What you got to do is treat around the skirting.
Yeah,
that's the main area.
I've done
furnishing.
that, and I've vacuumed several times. In fact,
and have you emptied the vacuum?
My vacuum cleaner was really not sucking yesterday. I was doing it for hours.
Have you emptied the bag?
Of course.
All right. Okay. Listen, just don't get defensive.
Okay.
Craig's trying to help you, mate.
JVS, you know where I am. If in a week you've still got the problem.
Why? What are you going to do?
Well, we'll come out and treat it for you.
Oh, I see. You're a pest controller, are you?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Would you recommend, Craig, that JVS buys a caravan and maybe and parks that in the drive and maybe sleeps in the caravan for a few weeks?
I think he ought to sleep in the fridge.
Yeah.
In the fridge?
In the nude.
In the nude, that'd be a lot better for him.
Craig, thank you very much indeed. There we go. That's.
Well, I feel destroyed.
You should be. Are you sure that the fleas they've not come from the new? I know you're going to do a show. Get ready for your show. Sorry, I could talk to you all morning. The fleas weren't in your new house.
Well, the previous owner had a dog.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's where you've got it from.
You reckon?
Yeah.
You're publicly blaming the people that lived in the house before?
Yep. Let's name and shame them.
Right.
Just give out their phone number. Anyway, listen, sorry, I've kept you for ages. You've got work to do. What's on your show this morning, Fleabag?
Fleabag? That's not going to stick.
What do we reckon? Kath? Fleabag?
Yeah,
Fleabag
nice.
Vernon Smith?
Fleabag.
Kelly, you're good with nicknames. You're young. Fleabag.
Fleavies.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I hate you.
What's on the Fleavies show this morning, Fleabag?
Coming up on this morning's Big Phone In, we are discussing the front page of every single newspaper today. The front pages, they're dominated by the wreckage of Malaysian passenger flight MH17, which is thought to have been shot down by a surface-to-air missile in Ukrainian airspace. 298 people were killed, 9 of whom were British. Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond has told the BBC that he's shocked, but he won't speculate yet on who's to blame. Russia has blamed Ukraine, whilst Ukraine has blamed militant separatists backed by Russia. Well, the US Senator John McCain has said that there will be hell to pay if we discover that Vladimir Putin was in some way responsible. And with reports the missile was Russian-made, anyone buying the Sun newspaper this morning will be confronted with the headline, Putin's missile. Well, this morning we'll hear expert analysis on the JVS show, and I want to hear your thoughts as well from 9. What should Britain do if it turns out Russia shot the plane down? You can call me now. We'll talk about it after 9 this morning on 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Talking about cycling, it's Kerry. Good morning, Kerry.
Good morning.
What you got for us, boss?
Oh, this has been a bugbear I've wanted to talk about for so long.
Let it out, fella.
Right, I cycle and I motorcycle around Campton, Stondon, around the area I live. I always wear a real bright, high-visibility vest, which I think should be law in England. But what I'd like you to ask, or what I'd like to ask myself is, could some of these ignorant professional cyclists that I see that are wearing dark clothes, they wear in black, that don't wear high-visibility vests, they cycle in groups of 2 or 3. When I'm out in my car, you go around a blind bend near Campton, there's a crowd of them that come cycling around. Can they come on air and tell me why, 1, they don't wear high visibility, 2, they cycle in big groups, even round blind bends? Are they just ignorant or what? Perhaps they'll come on and tell me. The other thing is, we cycle on, we go down the Shefford bypass, and regularly we saw a young girl that we know from Halsey, always wearing black, and she's just come out of Addenbrooke's Hospital. She was hit on the bypass, and in a way, I don't think you should be blaming car drivers because we have not evolved to see people on bicycles. It's scientific fact that the human eye hasn't evolved. So please, let's make it law.
Well, hang on a second, Kerry. I don't quite understand this argument that car drivers can't see cyclists. Yeah, if it's night time and the cyclist is wearing black, then yeah, and they've got no lights on, you can't. They're kind of idiots. But in the daytime, I see cyclists. I notice cyclists.
No, you don't. It's been scientifically proven that you do not. Sorry, but
I don't remember undergoing any tests.
You don't. You don't need to because it's been proven.
But I like to question evidence. I can see cyclists.
No, you can't. You don't. Why did they invent camouflage to stop people being seen?
Yeah, you don't get the soldiers riding a bike through the undergrowth so they're not seen. That would make them more obvious.
Some of these so-called professional cyclists with their fancy gear blend in with the background. Black blends in. It's almost like camouflage. Camouflage stops you being seen.
I know what camouflage is, yes, but also I do know that when I'm driving my car, I see cyclists.
Okay, well I
see dead people.
I've been a motorcyclist all my life, and I cycle as well. And about a year ago in Henlow, I was sort of turning into a corner, and I nearly hit a cyclist who I didn't see, and yet I'm thinking, like the signs say, think motorcyclist, think cyclist. And ever since that day, I've thought, my God, if he had a high visibility vest on, I would have seen him. Fortunately...
Maybe you were going too fast.
No, I was just turning round, doing about 5 miles an hour. No, OK, you think you see them...
I've definitely seen cyclists while I've been driving. I know that for a fact.
Of course, we all see cyclists, but you don't see all of them, but you would if they wore high visibility vests. Make it the law. But let these professionals come in, tell me why they don't wear them, one, and two, why they feel it's right to cycle in 3-4 abreast, even round blind bends.
Kerry, let's put that out there. 08459 455 555 is the... I get the don't ride three abreast. I find that very, very annoying.
I do, but then again, I can understand why they would feel more protected if they're bigger.
No. I don't buy that. But I have ice. Maybe there are cyclists I haven't seen then. Invisible cyclists. I don't get that. I see cyclists.
But don't you think it gives them more of a chance if they've got a high vis?
Oh, no, definitely. Yes, they should do as much as they can to be seen. Of course they should. I just don't get this argument that I don't see cyclists. I see them. Do I?
Do you?
Do I?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M40 heading northbound still closed at the moment between junction 2 for Beaconsfield and junction 3 for Loudwater. We are seeing congestion now to junction 1A for the M25 after a serious accident happened earlier on this morning. The M25 heading anti-clockwise, we're getting reports in of one lane being blocked at the moment between junction 17 for Maple Cross and junction 16 the M40, and that's all due to a broken down lorry there. Rather slow moving on the A40 London Road heading northbound between Beaconsfield and High Wycombe, and on the trains delays are up to about 20 minutes on First Capital Connect between Luton and St Pancras International, also affecting East Midland trains. Delays expected till around 9 o'clock this morning. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Jane Killick. The international community is calling for an investigation into the shooting down of a Malaysia Airlines plane in eastern Ukraine with the loss of nearly 300 lives. Ukrainian officials say pro-Russian insurgents are responsible, an accusation denied by rebels. There are calls for tougher penalties for drivers who kill cyclists. A Freedom of Information request by the BBC to all police forces found that a quarter of those convicted weren't banned from driving. Controversial roadworks in Hemel Hempstead that caused businesses to lose thousands of pounds have been branded a complete waste of money. This weekend, a street festival is being held in the Old Town for the official opening of the new High Street. The weather, hot, humid and mainly sunny. On to sport, and in cricket, Jeff Boycott claims Alistair Cook will never make it as a tactical captain after England let India off the hook in the second test at Lords. The tourists recovered from 145 for 7 to 290 for 9, with Boycott highly critical of England's short-pitched bowling and some of Cook's field placings. The early starters in the second round of the Open are facing rain and wind at Hoylake, which could bring some high scores this morning. Leader Rory McIlroy tees off this afternoon when conditions are set to improve. McIlroy is 1 shot ahead of Italy's Matteo Manassero and 2 ahead of a group that includes Adam Scott, Sergio Garcia and Jim Furyk. High Wycombe's Tyrell Hatton shot a 3-over par round yesterday and was disappointed with one hole in particular.
I just had one bad hole, I think it was on 5. Made triple there, and it's a good birdie opportunity, so I let 4 shots go on the field there, I think. But apart from that, I played okay. My putter was really good. Hold quite a few par putts from like 6-7 feet, but it got a little bit tricky on the back 9 as the wind started to pick up.
Football. In last night's friendlies, Luton Town beat Hitchin 5-0. Striker Alex Wall scored a hat-trick, and there were goals from Sean Whalley and Mark Cullen. Boreham Wood lost 3-1 at home to Brentford. In athletics, Milton Keynes long jumper Greg Rutherford has pulled out of the anniversary games in London this Sunday. It has a precaution to prepare for the Commonwealth Games. He also didn't compete at last weekend's Glasgow Grand Prix after suffering a knee problem in warm-up. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next bulletin is at 9.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, we've been following the fortunes of traders in Hemel for more than a year now, where many have been blaming roadworks for a devastating drop in trade. The controversial improvements were completed in May, 7 months behind schedule. Well, this weekend, a street festival is being held to officially mark the opening of the new High Street. Our reporter, Justin... Well, you were in Old Town this morning. You're back in the studio. What happened?
Atmospheric problems, apparently, with the radio car. You've had a few texts as well. People saying you're a bit mono in certain places.
Back to mono, man. We're keeping it real. So you join me in the studio, which is always slightly unsettling. But this project has been beset by problems from the start, hasn't it? What's happened?
The Old Town Hemel. I mean, these roadworks started last June. They were meant to finish in late October. They eventually finished in May. The way the project was sold to us was they were going to make the Old Town in Hemel, which is a very famous high street there, they were going to make it one way to improve traffic, but also to enable extra parking spaces. So people could pop to the Old Town, they could park on the high street for an hour or so, and they could use the local businesses. Well, what happened was everyone thought the Old Town was shut. So many people complained about the noise. People just avoided the area. So it became a ghost town. So businesses there, they lost money. We've heard reports of, 60, 70, 80,000 pounds. It was eventually finished in May, and they're having this big street party tomorrow, which is quite strange because it finished back in May. Okay. It's all a bit weird.
But parking has been a problem there, hasn't it?
It's been a major problem because, as we mentioned, this was sold to us because they wanted to improve the parking to give extra spaces so people will go and use the businesses there, the local independent traders. Well, I was there yesterday talking to traders, and they said to me these improvements have made absolutely no impact on their business at all. They are still losing money. It's still a ghost town. I parked my car yesterday in what I thought was a legitimate bay. I went to speak to businesses. When I came back out, there's a traffic warden right next to my car trying to put a ticket on my vehicle. You've heard from one business already this morning who says it's totally confusing, it's going to kill off trade even further. This is what happened when I spoke to the traffic warden. So I'm from the BBC. I want to ask you one quick question. There's a lot of confusion right now over parking. You tried to put a ticket on my vehicle. Somebody else has arrived here as well. You can make comment because it looks confusing.
I'm employed by I'm subcontracted to the local authority, and I am not at liberty. You must speak to the local authority.
OK, somebody else has made the same point as me there. It says no loading. Hang on 1 second. It says no loading. I'm not loading. So why were you going to give me a ticket?
I have nothing more to say.
But why were you going to give me a ticket?
I have nothing more to say.
But why were you going to give me a ticket?
I have nothing more to say.
But why were you going to give me a ticket?
I have nothing more to say.
But I wasn't loading. It says no loading. I wasn't loading. I parked my car here to come and see somebody in a business.
This means no waiting. If you know your road signs, that means no waiting.
Why doesn't it just say no parking here then? It's totally confusing. Everyone's saying the same thing.
Anymore about
Do you not see what I'm saying, though?
It's not me.
I'm about to leave now, but you were trying to put a ticket on my vehicle when those signs are confusing. Madam, excuse me, can I ask you one quick question, OK? I'm here on the Old Town. The parking here, that man there was going to give me a ticket. It says no loading at any time. I wasn't loading at all. Do you see what I'm saying? Is it confusing?
Very. I had the same problem myself when I came up.
He's now writing me out a ticket. So I'm leaving in 30 seconds, OK?
Actually, last time I was here, not this man.
OK, I'm going to have to go because he's putting a ticket on my vehicle, but is that unfair? Yes or no?
Yes, I saw a ticket warden waiting for the time to put a ticket on a car.
Leave it here, thank you.
So did you get a ticket?
We don't know. I eventually caught up with him about 2 minutes later and I said, can I ask you, have you given me a ticket? In a sarcastic tone, well, let's just see what comes in the post, shall we? And I said, have you given me a ticket? I need to know. Let's just wait and see.
Attitudes like that, well, I really find very tedious. What did the locals have to say?
Well, I thought I was being thick, to be quite honest with you. But
many times in the past you have been thick.
Absolutely, I hold my hands up to certain things, but on this particular occasion, I think I've got this one right. It's very, very confusing. You can park for an hour. There's a loading bay, unloading bay. Then you can park again, disabled bays that don't look like disabled bays. I spoke to locals in the Old Town. Here's what they had to say. Afternoon, sir. What's your name?
Anush.
Is the parking confusing up here, or is it just me? Am I being stupid?
Nah, you're not stupid, but for all the customer for coming to our restaurant, they're getting fined every day.
So all of your customers are getting tickets as well because...
They're coming overtime as well, 9:30, even though Sunday as well, the traffic warden, they're coming on Sunday.
So it's not just me, your customers are also confused, they're getting parking tickets, and that long-term could affect your business?
I think so. I think the council, they're making good money now.
Very confusing. They do it all up so it looks lovely and you can't stop to enjoy it anywhere.
And the traffic warden tried to get you as well, didn't he?
Well, yeah, it says no loading, doesn't say no parking, and the yellow sign says no waiting. So why don't they just say no parking?
Well, I actually find myself in a hairdresser's now. In terms of what you're telling your customers, are you telling your customers to be careful because the parking is so confusing here?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're telling them to try not to park and just to use the actual main car parks.
It's really that bad. It's not just me, it's really that bad.
Really that bad, yeah. Yeah, it needs to be signposted properly. I think they would have been better off doing maybe a parking meter, like a pay and display thing. I think that would have been the best thing to do because it is totally confusing, yeah.
It is at the moment. I think people have got to get used to it, and it's sort of, you don't know what's pavement and what's road as well in some of the places.
People getting angry about it?
I've heard a few choice words, yes.
Well, we did ask to speak to Terry Duris, who I met, in the week, and he's responsible for highways at Herts County Council, but we were told he wasn't available again. Second time he's been unavailable recently, so let's instead speak to Councillor Andrew Williams, the leader of Dacorum Borough Council, who are responsible for enforcing parking restrictions in the Old Town. Andrew, it's confusing there.
Well, listening to your report, you get the impression it is, but every bay in the high street is marked, telling people where the restrictions are and what the limit is in that bay.
So why are all the businesses and the people that may or may not be going there finding it confusing then? Are they stupid?
No, I think there's been some confusion around the bus stop. Obviously, the high street is a restricted zone, and that makes it different to normal parking restrictions in the sense that there are no yellow lines. When you can only park where it tells you can park rather than where it tells you can't park. There has been some confusion, I guess, listening to your report there, around the bus stop, which now has 3 signs telling you that it's no loading, no waiting.
There's no bus that works that route, is there?
No.
Why have you got a bus stop there?
The intention, because it's a chicken and egg situation. We debated this when we designed the scheme, with the idea of putting in a bus stop and trying to encourage buses, which previously refused to run up the high street because of the dangerous parking, to encourage buses to come back to the high street.
How's that going? When can we expect a bus route there?
Well, I think we have to find an operator who's prepared to reroute their buses to do so.
Have you not spoken to any? Have you spoken to any operators? And what have they said?
At the moment, we haven't got a positive response, but I think if we remove the bus stop, we remove the opportunity. I think we have to give it some time to settle down.
How long, Andrew, will you give it before you remove the bus stop?
I think you need to give it a good 12 months.
A year?
Yep.
How many bus companies have you spoken to?
That has been done by a passenger transport unit at Hertfordshire County Council, so I don't have.
Because there can't be that. I would have thought. How many bus companies are there that run routes around that area? There can't be that many, can there?
There are 2 or 3 bus operators who run routes in Hemel, but primarily they are run by Arriva.
So basically, Arriva have said no.
Well, it would require them to reroute existing routes, and that normally takes some time for them to do replanning. So
they've said no. Arriva, the bus company in that area, have said no, and you're going to keep the bus stop there for a year.
Yep, I think we have to keep the opportunity. I mean, not only buses, it could be used for tourism and coaches to stop there and unload and unload. I think it is important as we go forward that we have an opportunity for public transport to use the high street. And it's also the case that the number of parking bays available in the Old Town are rarely full, and there are 20-odd on-street, 1 hour, free-to-use bays.
Does that not worry you that they're rarely full? Because the point was it was supposed to attract more people to the Old Town, and if they're rarely full, that would imply it's not working.
Well, it has been relaunched. I think it is getting better. I think people are getting more used to the restrictions. The figures we have show that the number of tickets being issued, which, contrary to your report, are relatively small, are decreasing. On average, we're only issuing 1.7 tickets a day over May and June.
Justin Dealey, a reporter, is here. Justin, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, good luck for tomorrow with the street party. We're trying to encourage people to go back to the Old Town because you made lots of mistakes during the roadworks. Businesses there have lost thousands of pounds. Now it all looks fantastic. People are being put off going to the Old Town because of the parking restrictions. It's not just the locals, but it's the businesses as well. They're all saying it's totally confusing. You should be celebrating this right now, trying to get people to go back. People aren't going to go back because it's too confusing and it's putting them off. Surely that must concern you.
It does concern me, but that people are not finding it clear. We have marked every bay, and we've gone over and above the required signage. I know I listened to your commentary there, and what's the interpretation of no loading and no waiting, but they are standard Department of Transport approved signs. We can't include a sign that says no parking. Why are
the businesses finding it so confusing then?
I'm not sure why. I mean, if you're there on a daily basis, these signs, every single bay, as you will have seen when you're there, is signed.
They're thick.
And this is not an unusual. There are other towns in Hertfordshire which have exactly the same schemes as this.
So the shopkeepers are thick?
No, I don't think they're thick. I think it's I think it does take some getting used to. They're obviously getting complaints from their customers, but the figures show us that the number of penalty tickets is reducing, and the perception that we're issuing dozens of tickets a day is simply not the reality.
If it doesn't work and people are still confused and people are still staying away, would you reconsider changing the signage? Making it clearer?
We can only change the signage if the Department of Transport gives approval, because the signage that is there is the approved signage for enforcement. So if we changed it to something different wording, it wouldn't be legally compliant and we wouldn't be able to enforce it.
OK, what about this then? Next week, Andrew, you come with me to the Old Town and we'll take a walk along the Old Town. We'll talk to businesses, we'll talk to local people and we'll explore those signs, and then you can make some sort of decision off the back. Because I'm telling you right now, I don't know when the last time you were there, but I've been there twice in the last couple of weeks. Every single person that I'm talking to is moaning about the signs. Would you come with me next week to take a look?
I will be able to do it at some stage. Next week is start of school holidays, so I'm not available next week, I'm afraid.
The week after that?
Yeah, I can do something.
OK, we'll arrange that for the week after that, Andrew.
What I'm saying to you is the Decorum Borough Council is the enforcer, but we're not we're not the traffic authority, and we can't change the signs.
OK, well, listen, why don't you go up with Justin in a couple of weeks and have a look at that. The Street Festival tomorrow, Andrew, when is that happening and what are you expecting to have there?
Well, we have... a combined event tomorrow to launch this on the positive side. From 1 p.m. we have a street festival for up and down the high street stalls, businesses involved, entertainment, being opened at 1 o'clock by the Rock Choir and Mike Penning. And combined with that, we have a folk festival from the Old Town Hall, celebrating the Old Town Hall. So 2 combined events which will fill the high street with entertainment and activity for the whole of the afternoon.
Well, let's hope it works, because I know that a lot of businesses are struggling, Andrew, and when we've spoken to one today that may have consider having to close his business at Christmas if it doesn't pick up. Fingers crossed that this has all been worthwhile. Justin, excellent stuff. Thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555. Let's get the travel.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
the M40 looking very slow at the moment, and it's closed at the moment between junction 2 for Beaconsfield and junction 3 for Loudwater due to this accident that happened earlier on this morning. The M40 London-bound stretch also looking rather slow on camera as well now at the moment. Looking for slow on the A40 London Road heading northbound between Beaconsfield and High Wycombe, and taking a look in Boreham Wood, queuing on the Barnet bypass heading southbound between Barnet Lane and Mill Hill Circus. Still seeing disruption on First Capital Connect of up to about 20 minutes between Luton and St Pancras International, also affecting East Midland trains as well, and that's all due to a signalling problem. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. 8:47, these are your headlines. There are international calls for an investigation into the shooting down of an airliner over Ukraine, with the death of almost 300 people. Only a quarter of drivers convicted for killing cyclists on the road are sent to jail. And the revamp of Hemel Hempstead Old Town is being branded a waste of money ahead of a festival this weekend. Let's get the weather. Here's Sarah.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah, I just came off the phone with someone out in Buckinghamshire saying it is absolutely tipping it down. We've had another line develop of storms, which is right across Buckinghamshire now, but it's stretching up towards Hertfordshire as well, and it's going to track into all of us in the next little while. So some more torrential weather around just now. It is a pretty narrow line, though, and it is clearing away. And then we are looking at a lot of, as I say, dry, hot and sunny weather with a top temperature today somewhere up close to 30 Celsius. Somewhere may even get 31, possibly 32 degrees somewhere in our three counties. That's at 90 in Fahrenheit. And then we'll start to see those torrential thunderstorms making their way back in from the south again. We start to run the risk of some of them late afternoon, but then the bulk of them tracking across us as we go through this evening and overnight. We start with them tomorrow morning. At this stage, it looks like we may have a slight drier interlude before they start to kick off again in the early part of the afternoon. And again, some torrential downpours likely to come through as we head towards tomorrow evening. And then overnight into Sunday, we continue to run the risk of them. We do have a Met Office weather warning in force for tomorrow. There will be drier interludes, but when you catch these thunderstorms, they'll be heavy and torrential. Between them, a top temperature tomorrow of 28 Celsius. Slowly things improving through the weekend. Still the risk of some showers on Sunday, but by Monday, things will be drier.
Nick Coffer, across Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
I'm at Bletchley Park today for a very, very important special occasion. For me, being out of the studio is about putting faces to names and bringing to life all that's brilliant about Beds, Hearts and Bucks. If you know the high street here and you've never seen what goes on behind you really should, because it's like a whole new world.
Nick Coffer.
I think for my listeners, they get a chance to hear about places they may never have visited. In fact, they may never have heard of. And also, they hear the stories from the people that bring those places to life.
That is one of the mysteries of Abbots Langley Fire Brigade.
Nick Coffer, across Beds, Hearts and Bucks on BBC Three Counties Radio.
And the weather for Beds, Hearts and Bucks. Tomorrow, wet and wet, basically. Top temperature 9 degrees Celsius. BBC Three Counties News, it's 5:05.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Slam it to the left if you're having a good time. Swing it to the right if you know that you feel fine. Whoa! Freak out!
Yeah.
Oh,
hold tight.
I forgot the word. I forgot the words. I forgot the words to all the Spice Girls songs.
How could you? What about To Become One?
I like To Become One because tonight is the night when to become one.
What do they mean?
I need your love like I never needed love before. I'm gonna make love to... Yeah. That got a bit Quado, didn't it?
Pre-watershed.
Put it on. The telly. Put the telly on, innit?
Quick.
Or the supper.
Stop right now.
Now, thank you very much. I need somebody with a human touch.
What's that about?
That's about someone who has had a very painful relationship with an alien. And now they want to have it with a human being. Kev's in Northampton. Morning, Kev.
Hey, morning, Ian. Who needs music when we've got you to listen to, eh?
Exactly. I am. But this is what I've been saying for years. I am better than music. Hey, I'm well excited, Kev. I'm on Twitter, and I hate Twitter. It's full of idiots, right? But yesterday, what a rock and roll hero. Get this, Kath. Yesterday, a rock and roll hero started following me on Twitter.
Alvin Stardust.
No.
What era?
60s.
Oh. Are they still alive?
Yeah.
And on Twitter?
Yeah.
Wow. What's nationality?
Marty Wilde.
British.
Marty Wilde.
A proper legend.
He's a legend. And he's local.
Right, I'll give you a clue.
Okay. He's is it from Led Zeppelin?
One of the Davises.
Was it Stone? Ray Davies.
The other one.
Someone else from the Kings.
Reg.
Dave Davis. Dave Davis, Kev.
Yeah.
Kev?
Yeah. No offence, Ian, but you sounded more like a Dalek then.
Oh! No, I didn't. I sounded like Dave Davis inventing heavy metal in his mum's living room in Muswell Hill, North London. I was well excited by that. Dave Davis of the Kinks follows me on Twitter. The pressure is on. I'm now followed, right? Get this. I'm followed by Dave Davis. I'm followed by a monkey. I'm followed by an Olympic champion. And I'm followed by Lisa Faulkner. I'm hobnobbing with the stars, guys.
Which one's Lisa Faulkner?
She's the lady who was an actress, and now she's a cook.
Oh, now she's a cook.
Is it too late to admit that I follow you as well?
Do you follow me?
Yeah.
Well, hang on a second. Who are you?
Me? I'm Kev.
No, I know. No, yeah, I got that. Who are you in the world of Twitter?
Kev Daly.
Kev Daly. You've messaged me, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah,
Kev
I have.
Daly?
Kev. Hang on, I'm going to get up his Twitter feed.
I'm looking too.
We're looking.
So you've got some pictures.
Here we go. You're an alien.
Yeah, I could be.
Look at you. You're a bit political. Look at you. You're political.
Has been known.
Oh, look at you. I'm followed by someone who's political.
Oh, you don't follow me.
No, he wouldn't follow you, would he?
Oh.
Follows me, innit? Because I'm the show. I'm better than music.
You certainly are a show.
Get out of it. Well, Kev, I appreciate your following, and if I've sent you any abuse on Twitter, well, you know what? You probably deserved it. What have you got for us this morning?
I nearly got took out by a cyclist today.
Sorry?
I nearly got took out by a cyclist.
Oh, no, we're losing your phone signal just as we're getting to the point about what you called in for.
Oh, hold on a second.
There we
Let's do it this way.
There's lots of atmospherics today because of the electricity in the air. That's why Justin Dealey was...
car park at the moment.
Oh.
I nearly got took out by a cyclist today.
Tell me what happened,
who was
Kev.
riding on the pavement, no hands.
He had no hands?
No, no hands on the steering.
He wasn't using his hands, okay.
No, he wasn't.
No.
But he was using his hands for something else. He was busy texting.
Oh, no. Really?
Really? And I tell you what, when he started turning in and going across the front of him, he had enough time to nearly drop his phone. I wish he had. Nearly drop his phone, slam his hands on the brakes, swerve out of the way, and then... Hold on a sec. Yeah.
Sorry, Kev, are we interrupting?
Yeah, sort of. But, no, he had enough time to stick the finger up at me as well. So I got abuse.
Oh, dear. OK, cyclists, here's the deal, right? Don't use your mobile phones. Don't wear headphones. That's a really good start. And the same goes for drivers as well. I don't want this to be a one-sided thing. But headphones and mobile phones, when you're on a bike, when you're in a... For goodness sake, stop it! Stupid! Don't use that word. Silly! Kev, thank you very much indeed. And thank you for the Twitter love. Try not to use the word stupid, because my boys use it and we don't like it. It's not a very nice word. So, silly is, I think, perhaps the best. What happened? The phones are really busy and now there's no phone calls.
We've got loads. It's just very little time.
Well,
we're picking our not favourites, it's wrong, but we're picking the ones who called in order.
And who's still answering?
But, but why aren't they up now, then?
They are. Fader one is Harriet.
Morning, Harriet.
Morning, Ian.
I'm dealing with plums. Oh, you sound even squeakier than normal. Have you got a cold?
A bit of one.
Oh, dearie me. I'll go and rub some Vicks on your chest.
Don't have time. I've got to be in work for 9:30.
Oh, blimey! You better be quick on the phone then. What have you got for us?
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to you because you really cheered me up yesterday morning.
Oh.
Because there was a road accident on the route I usually take.
Oh, blimey.
And we had to go off on this huge, great big diversion. I was like, oh, God, I'm never going to get into work. And I would have got totally upset.
Yeah.
But you were just making me smile and laugh the whole way. So
as Daz just said, I'm better than music. Imagine being better than music. I love it, right, when I get followed on or I see people on Twitter that are big stars, like Dave Davis from the Kinks or David Crosby from Crosby, Stills, Nash, right? And I have more followers than them. I'm bigger than David Crosby. I'm bigger than the Byrds. Anyway, I'm speaking a foreign language to you. What do you want to say, Harriet?
On the whole bike car thing...
Yes.
I just think it's really silly that road users can't just respect each other, because I'm a cyclist and I'm a motorist, and when I'm driving, I keep an eye out for cyclists because I'm extra aware of them because I am one.
Yeah.
And, you know, I make sure I leave enough room for them to come up the side.
Yeah.
And when I'm cycling, I'm aware of cars, and I try and make sure to check for cars before I pull out or something.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that annoys them. So it's just, you know, respecting each other, really, isn't it?
Well, it is. And Harriet, and I don't mean to say... I hope this doesn't sound flippant.
Yeah.
First of all, that's true. And yes, we should respect each other on the roads.
Yeah.
But also, and again, I genuinely mean this, can't we take that philosophy to Gaza and Israel? Can't we... We're all human beings. Can't we all respect each other?
Well, I think the trouble is, we're all human beings, but then you've got politicians.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's where the problem is.
Yeah, I think you could be right.
Harriet, put a class of 5-year-olds in government, and I think we'll be fine.
Did you know what? There could be something in that. Harriet, I'm going to let you go because I've been told that we've got loads of phone calls coming up.
Have a great day, Ian.
Thank you very much, Harriet. Right, Harriet's gone. Let's get the next phone calls up. We had loads of phone calls, I was just told, so let's see.
Well, we thought that Harriet was going to be...
longer.
You know she's tiny.
I know, and I didn't realise she had to go out at 9:30, but be there by 9:30. So...
It's all right, I've got one ready.
We had loads of calls, people phoning up, right?
Do you know what happens? They go to work, and it's 2 minutes now to 9 o'clock.
Who's
some
this?
People are busy.
Who's this?
It's going to be someone interesting
Hi, can you tell us a story about Ray Davis? Step.
and familiar.
Don't worry, stay on the line.
Yeah, who's this? Hello? Oh. Hello? Got me an elephant falling down the stairs, have you? Hello? Hello? Who's on the phone? You? What? Hello? Lynn? Lynn? Lynn?
Hello?
Yeah, we're out of time now.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M40 heading northbound closed at the moment between Junction 2 at Beaconsfield and Junction 3 for Loudwater. This is following an accident that happened earlier on. Seeing queues now to Junction 1A for the M25. Taking a look at so far, and Farnham Commons queuing on Collingswood Road.
I used to live there!
Northbound.
I got excited when I grew up. It was mentioned on the radio. It's exciting.
I nearly had a heart attack. Between one...
You had a heart attack. Listen, I got excited you mentioned Farnham Common. I used to live there on Forge Drive. Anyway, hurry up, we're running out of time.
Delays of up to 20 minutes on First Capital Connect between Luton and St Pancras International. That's following an earlier signalling problem. Nicola Richards, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Nicola, thank you very much indeed. New podcast coming up. JVS is on next from us till Monday. Ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon Smith. It's Friday. It's 9 o'clock. And on today's Big Phone In, what should Britain do if it turns out Russia shot the plane down? The